If we're all set, let's go ahead and call this meeting to order at 6:38. Can you hear us, Melissa?
She's muted.
Thanks.
I can hear you. Thank you. Yeah,
We can hear you, so we know we have two-way communication.
perfect.
All right, we're gonna go ahead and just approve our meeting minutes from April 10th, 2024. Do you guys have any questions, comments on those meetings? Minutes?
And this last part that you put in our minutes, that's all been reviewed by Dennis as far as the cabin out there.
There was all the stuff that you.
Yeah, I mean, that's all taken care of, so.
Okay.
I didn't see anything to add or take away.
Neither did I.
All right, I'll take a motion to approve the meeting minutes from April 10th, 2024.
Do that.
And I'll second it.
All right, all in favor?
Aye.
All right, thank you guys. Next we have Melissa and Lisa from BLM to give us an update, continue our previous discussion on BLM projects for the spring and summer.
Yeah, thank you guys for having us back again. I don't think we're gonna need as much time tonight as you gave us the couple weeks ago at the other meeting. We're gonna wrap up a few slides here, but we wanted to take time to show. I know one of these projects is gonna require some travel, some road closures, so we want to make sure to have enough time to talk about that with you guys. Can you see my screen here? Did you want me to run back to the beginning list, or I was just gonna kind of pick up where we left
I
off?
just take out where you left off.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think we're all good.
Love to have a copy of that list, though.
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
I'm gonna send right after this, as soon as we're done, I can take a snapshot and send that to, do you want the whole slide deck? Is that what you'd like? I can send that to Willie. Is that the best way?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Whichever's easiest for you.
That last meeting, Melissa really said we could use that as rather than the land use form.
Yeah,
That they like
Yeah.
us to fill out.
that's great.
Yeah.
Thanks for letting us do
Fill
that.
something out for every single one of them.
No, well, Lisa, she's done it for years and years, so.
One thing that's
Whatever.
not on here that you guys do have on your land use form is what equipment we'll have at each project, so. That wouldn't be information that you had, but. So if you want that.
Yeah, if that's
Okay.
important, we can add that kind of information. We might not know.
Because a lot of times we get questions from the public too, what is that equipment, we're on what equipment, but if I know you guys are working in mini goals with whatever, then we'll know.
Yeah, we usually can nail down what equipment we're gonna have there
Okay,
within a few pieces.
plus or minus.
Yeah,
So do you want the equipment lists for each site?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. Just taking notes. Okay, so picking up where we left off, I don't know if we went over this Burns Gulch closure project at the end of the last project, but we have a few physical safety closures kind of scattered about the mining district planned for this summer. Working through DRMS to do those.
these will all be helicopter access except for Burns.
Okay,
And that's sort of interesting because the WSA, the Red Cloud, not Red Cloud, Handy WSA actually comes down into Burns quite a ways.
It
So,
does, huh?
yeah, like a long ways,
Like
And-
as far as the Great Eastern photos,
almost, within about 500 feet of them.
I'll be darned.
So that's
I
how
mean-
we ended up, it was just easier to not have to, say, oh, you gotta stay away from this or keep a buffer or whatever,
Sure.
so we just made it no helicopter access and birds.
Okay,
Nice, okay.
so, rough road in that stream bed, good luck.
And we up to those contractors,
So is Mini Gulch, where your closures at in Mini?
they're up near the end.
What's up there at the end?
They're right on the, let's see, if you were looking right, let's see. I don't remember which direction of it. Like,
Esmeralda, you guys definitely
yeah,
can close that
it's
shut.
opposite, it's opposite Esmeralda, and Esmeralda is, oh no, she couldn't do that, that's
Yeah, that one
Todd,
needs
she
to be
couldn't.
filled in. I mean, that's, you walk the edge of grass roots and you fall in the dirt about 20 feet right there. So
Yeah.
that's a nasty hole with the fence down and everything, so.
Yeah, you'll have to talk to Kirsten about that.
Okay.
We only did BLM holes in our CX, our categorical exclusion.
All right.
But, since that is on private, and I know that supposed to be part of this project, but Kirsten had a hard time getting access,
Okay,
so I don't know where that landed.
I can't think of any open portals on that opposite, or,
There-
on the west side. Is there a
Yeah.
couple right there?
Yeah, you know where that little shallow basin is, right at the end of the road, on the right side of the road
Yeah.
there? Yeah, there's two up there. And they're not very far away from here.
How deep are they?
I don't know.
Oh.
Yeah. I think we've got the inventory from it that would say, but I don't
Are you,
remember off the top of my
are you gating them or are you rocking them?
head. Just back closures.
Okay,
So we pretty much exclusively do back closures now, unless
so you can
there's
reach
some.
those by with a tractor to back close it, or are you doing it by hand?
Those get usually flown in
Oh,
and then.
well, they just bring in a little bobcat excavator or something?
No,
Or-
we didn't allow any
Oh,
equipment,
that, okay,
but they can fly stuff in, so they'll be walking in any other equipment.
okay,
Besides what they can fly in.
okay. And Burns, I'm assuming, all the Great Eastern stuff, there's multiple portals there.
Yeah, there's, we ended up with seven up there,
Really?
maybe 8.
Okay.
Yeah. It's been a while since I wrote this again. I'm
Yeah.
starting to-
How many in total, Lisa, are on this project?
Kirsten has, like with private and public. I wanna say there's 40 something. But a
Wow.
couple of those, she wrapped in, La Plata Canyon.
Oh.
And too, so,
Yeah, the very first mine I ever went into in the San Juans was in Burns in the Great Eastern. I was 18 years old.
oh wow,
On a piece of dynamite and was gonna throw it down the hillside. Cause I said, wow, we can make this explode. I heard this. And, my roommates go take that back. I didn't have a clue.
All right,
Burrows is all, I thought you guys already did something with Burrows too. Did you fill in that open stove? That was a nasty one.
yeah, everything appears to be done on the kind of Mineral Point side of Burroughs, but. These two are on the Animas Fork side of Houghton. Kind of, that flat bench,
Way up high,
yeah, they're very high,
between like off to the side of Houghton right there in that saddle.
yeah, and it's
Okay.
just super flat and there's a really white precipitant coming out of the
Huh.
mountain. You know the one I'm talking
A
about?
lot of aluminum in the mountains.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Cause I thought Burroughs is done, the actual Burroughs mine is done, the Burroughs vein,
Yeah,
had a big open stope to grass, on a steep slope, catch all for sheep, elk, anything like that.
Pretty dangerous, yeah.
That one definitely needed.
Mhm.
The light is up there too, that was an open one.
Yeah.
Okay.
okay. All right. So, we have several, different projects planned for just, I mean, we call out the distinction that we don't call these different projects part of the Bonita Peak Mining District. But you can see the San Juan Chief Mine and Mill work that we're proposing is in San Juan County. I think are the Roy Prey and Palmetto, Lisa, are those in Hinsdale County or are those in San Juan
On
County
the other side, they're on the other side.
on the other side?
That's instead.
So just to kind of highlight where these other projects are that we're working on, but the San Juan Chief mine and mill site, we are going to need to do some traffic control. It's a pretty busy site for folks. And we have a lot planned in there. So
Guys doing it at the San Juan Chief Mine.
I think
That's all been, DMS has already closed all those
Right.
shafts.
I think if you go to the next slide, it'll be a little bit
Okay.
talk about the project. Or, well, no, we don't really have a slide that talks about the project, if you guys want to hear the details of the project.
Let
This
me-
is focused on road impacts here.
okay.
But we, yeah, I didn't do that one.
But we can highlight generally what we're going to do with this slide, right? I'm just going to run through. Yeah, we did want to focus on the traffic impacts that we're going to have this summer, but the project work that we're going to do around the mill site down here, it's almost in the footprint of the mill site. There are some hot spots, again, we have the high concentrations of lead and arsenic in the soils and the areas where we see a lot of visitor traffic, people on their OHVs are parking and walking around. It's a super cool site. It's a great historic site. It draws a lot of attention. So generally, the project work will involve, and Lisa, jump in whenever you feel like like I'm going astray here. But we're going to consolidate it within the disturbed footprint. It was hard to kind of find areas in this footprint that were disturbed and kind of places that we didn't want to keep for parking for people. So we found an area at the top of the mill site where we're going to consolidate waste. It's not much. There's not that much material on site that we need to move. And so the footprint of it is pretty small up in here at the top. We're going to create better parking at the lower part of the mill site where people are driving. Actually, you could see some of the photos we have. You can see where people can pull or have been pulling their vehicles right into the mill and like taking material away from the site. So we want to help protect that's it's eligible for the National Historic Register. We have to do some archival level photos, for the archaeologists before we do a lot of this work. Even though I don't think we're going to disturb this site at all, but we're going to be working so close to it that the archaeologists want it photo documented really well before we get in there with equipment. And we're also obligated, and this is kind of fun too, to put in some interpretation. So we'll use some of those photos that we are required to do to preserve the site or preserve that visual evidence, I guess, of the site at the moment before we do our work to create interpretive signs. I don't think the interpretive signs will make it in this year. It'll take a little bit of time to get those coordinated, but we'll hope to have them in next year. So down by the mill site, there's a little bit of road work that will happen. We have a lot of water sitting in the road, and we're going to build fill those spots in with gravel, I think is a general description of what we propose to do. And then,
Our drop is what we use.
yeah, to keep so that we keep
Our
vehicles up out of the water. And where that site, where the water is that right in here by the, this is the boarding house.
It's right there.
Yeah.
Just a little bit down, yeah.
Down, is it on the other side? No. Lisa knows right where it is. And this picture is terrible. I'm sorry about that. So that's most of what, our general overview of what we're gonna do at the mill site, but we are gonna, we would like to close the roads to traffic while we're doing road work in here, and then also while we're moving material around in this, within the site.
Yeah, and that whole round area, all the way from the mill to the mine is what we wanna close. You know, how
From
that
here.
turns up and makes a big loop.
Yeah.
And that's because we're gonna be having, trucks kind of going all the way around there and from the borrow area up in the orange, so. We just are worried about, teams of ATVs being in there while we've got equipment running around on the roads.
So on the county road itself.
Right here.
You're saying 24/7, I understand the loop, so that an isolated area, I totally get that, but you're not talking the whole county road.
No.
Okay, awesome, good,
Yeah, just
Yeah,
the area
got
between San Juan Chief Mill.
no, that
and-
makes sense,
Yeah, and then it'll be spot closures up by the.
County
fire
Road
areas.
17.
right,
Yeah. While they're,
That's-
yeah,
Okay,
while we'll have to be mining material for the borrow material out of this.
County
Slope.
Road 17, does it come across and then do the zigzag down the Mineral Creek? Okay,
Yeah.
So
So
that,
it'll be,
so the engineer pass is to the right there, the
Right.
turn off to engineer pass, okay?
yeah, so.
I remember down by the mill and places, there's quite a bit of braiding. As far as roads and stuff, are you guys gonna try to remedy some of that? So, that's really been damaged.
It is, it's terrible.
Are you guys gonna try to do something about that too?
Some of it we are, some of it though got recorded in our travel management plan, which makes it really hard for us to actually close. So what isn't documented in the travel management plan, we're gonna consolidate. the
Yeah,
routes.
'cause that's just braided and torn up
It's
and big
nuts.
puddles and
Yeah.
just,
Mhm.
that's a mess right there.
It is, and we walked the whole space with all of our specialists actually, and so we got recommendations from our wetland specialist and ecologist on how to best close those, there's a lot of braided areas and wet areas that just stay wet for a really long time and then
Oh, it's wet.
and
Yeah.
then traffic, goes out wide around them, so some of those we'll be able to remedy and some of them we won't.
I remember the days when all those shafts were open on the San Juan Chief, what a nasty place.
Yeah,
Wow.
Multiple.
and then our closures are gonna be, I probably should have put that on this map, but our closures will be right here
Okay,
and right here.
makes sense.
And I've talked to our contractors about, well, when we're working down here, could we, open up anything? And they just really do not feel safe about having, the numbers of ATVs that could potentially be swarming around them at any one time. They
That's
just,
a really busy area.
they just really don't feel comfortable letting that be, any of that open water above.
and when do you, I saw the other slide, but you're doing this in the fall,
We need to start really the end of July,
July, August,
yeah.
that's not a great time.
Mhm.
Nope.
I think it's because of our project lineup. We will start work in the Red Cloud area first, but I think we'll end up having multiple crews, Northwind crews on the ground. Both of these are being done by our contractor Northwind. And this one, we will have to wait a little bit to get in, but because it's about a 6-week project. So we're aiming to get started as soon as we can to make sure we have enough time to get all of the work done. And August, you say, is not a great time. Is it because of just
Full of people.
Yeah, July, August is our,
That's our
peak
busiest
season.
time. That's our peak
it's
season.
not a great time at all.
yeah.
Just kind of what it is, though. I mean, everyone only has 3 months to work in.
Right.
Yeah, don't I know it, I mean,
Yeah.
that's why we schedule it.
Yeah.
But, and the other thing we wanted to do here was, my feeling was that this job has a lot of potential to blow out if we get a lot of rain. If we get if we get lightning, our guys have to shut down and.
Yeah.
And they have to leave the site, and
Yeah.
so this, I mean, if we get that kind of weather, this could stretch into September. very
I
easily.
get that with excavator.
And,
Yep.
and this being at Timberline, it just didn't seem wise to have it be like a September project.
That's just big old lightning rod up at that elevation,
Yeah.
so.
Proposed work in the footprint of the mine, the San Juan mine area. There's a large, this was a head wall that DRMS took out. When was that done, Lisa? In the 90s? And this area is all reclaimed, and we're gonna do some work to treat that and re-veg it. And we're also going to try to establish some parking in this disturbed footprint to keep people, you can see even, on this map. That's
Driving up
not
on the
great.
dumps and stuff like that, yeah.
Yeah, you can see people are driving up. And then it's these kinds of paths through the road and through the site are causing erosion down the hillside. So we're gonna do some work to,
Bring some big boulders, that's the only way you're gonna keep
Yeah.
them off that stuff.
Yeah, we don't have a really good large boulder source right here, unfortunately, so.
we've been,
Let me ask you guys, when you do this, and this is a Mark question, this is still Mark, and good guy, the borrow area is the main part where you're having to close the road because you're right off the side of the county road getting material. Is there any way to grab that borrow material and bring it down where it's off? So the closure is only, instead of 24/7, one lane, or is there
We won't
Any
be
chance
closing
that-
County Road 17.
at all?
No, it'll be spot closures. It's pretty handy where we've got the borrow available.
Okay, so it's not gonna be as,
It shouldn't, I don't think it's gonna be a big deal
okay,
for traffic.
okay.
I think it'll be, if anything, I think it'll be maybe 20 minutes of
Oh,
or something, but,
Yeah.
Mark and I have walked this site a
Yeah.
lot, all over, and he felt really confident. Mark is our contractor, foreman that'll be up there, and, he really feels confident that the equipment can fit next to the borrow space, the dump truck can pull in there, and he can have, traffic control around that space. and
Nice,
Still
okay.
allow
Well,
people
especially-
around.
That answers my
Once you
question
dig some
totally,
of
yeah.
it out, so,
Yeah, and so, and those two spaces, if you're familiar with this area in orange, those two spaces are right across the road from the Mineral Point toilet, which is a huge wide space. I mean, you
Right,
get tons of traffic in there,
Right.
so that'll be easy. And then the other one is a larger rock source, and it is, it's right here, and this too is a pretty wide, it's not near as wide as this, but it's also a really wide space, so we really should have good luck with that
Sounds good.
borrow area.
Let us know if you hit on
I don't think we'll know.
it. It's pretty deep potatoes right there.
Yeah.
okay.
Okay.
Melissa, would you mind going back to that slide one more time?
Yeah, sure.
I also wanted to tell you, even though this isn't inside the yellow circle, the Thunderbolt and the British Queen here.
Oh, yeah,
Are included in this project,
this here, yeah.
and, but. Yeah, we'll be kind of consolidating traffic there too, getting parking off of the
Off the
waste
dump, yeah.
piles and trying to get them in a little more convenient spot where it's not so dangerous for people to park and back up, and it's not the
Yeah.
most ideal place to have traffic anywhere right there, but
Why don't you just block it right there and then they can park down here and walk it.
we do hope to block it right here.
Yeah,
And then make that.
Yeah.
the parking spot.
All right,
Yeah. Yeah, there's a kind of a spot where people are parking that before the tougher part of the road that looks okay. And then, right, we want to close off this road. This is a road that just goes up to the edge of this mine, so we'd like to close that off, and it's causing a lot of erosion as well. And keep people from parking on top of that pile. And we'll also, I think there's some added drainage in there too that we're gonna retrench it and make sure it's staying in its channel. But what else are we doing up here, Lisa?
I guess one other thing probably to mention is that, we are gonna have to improve the roads a little bit in this circle to get our, equipment up to the San Juan Chief Mill.
Yeah.
Oh, to get through those ruts.
Yeah,
Yeah.
there's some,
Ooh.
that stuff down to ground,
And some were kind of narrow with ruts.
Yeah.
I remember a couple of spots were
Yeah.
narrow with ruts.
but we
Yeah.
don't intend to improve the road, this road.
Not this one. No.
Isn't that really gnarly one?
Yeah. This, Through
But we're not gonna improve it.
yeah.
Are you using those track trucks or just regular 10-wheelers?
I think we're gonna use tractor.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I'd say that's probably the only thing you get in there.
yeah.
Okay, I'll go to did you have another question? No. Okay. All right, I think we discussed all of these items. We're gonna be back up at the Wyoming mine, and then a little bit further, that's located in that Palmetto Gulch area. So when we were working on the Wyoming mine, was it last 2 summers ago, we were not really able to get into the lower part of the area that needed work. I think it was because we couldn't move the equipment around on site. Like, we had to get everything up here. This is a great photo that Lisa put in here. Everything up here needs to be flown in. They took apart, the little skid steer that we used, and we couldn't move it from one part of the site to the other part of the site safely. So we're back in to do a little bit of additional work this year at that lower part of the Wyoming mine. And actually, this is standing on the pile. Yeah, looking down.
You guys are doing the work down there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Down in here. So we want to do some work to bypass. So this is a sediment pond that's collecting water that's running over the waste rock pile. And we want to be able to put in something to catch water that'll go around this waste rock pile. So that's one of the projects that we're going to be doing. And then a little bit of revegetation around the upper part, that will hold some of that looser material in place, and hopefully, also keep that out of our sediment pond, because this is not a great location to come back and do maintenance on those kinds of things. And then some re-veg down in the channel below. And we have there are a lot of sheep in the area, so we're really thinking about that process. And BLM, we have been putting up that electric fencing, like the temporary electric fencing, to keep sheep off of the veg areas, but so that we can allow something to grow in there before we pull the fencing out. A few years basically is what we do. We'll get the crews to go in there and put it up in the spring and take it down in the fall to give the veg that we, the seed and everything. We work so hard to try to get it to grow. So we're really.
You're not allowing sheep in the area. That seems like a good solution.
Yeah.
As much reclamation's being done in this area, they shouldn't be allowing sheep in any of it. It's just gonna ruin the reclamation. I mean,
Oh,
oops.
that's a discussion for another day.
Yeah.
But we
Out of
do have
our-
our measures. We have our measures that have been working pretty well. I know this area gets hit pretty hard, so we'll see how that works up here. But that's basically what we'll be doing. And this site, is all helicopter as well, for mob and demob as. The Roy Prey repository is not too far. I guess that we showed you that first map. Oh, first I want to make sure, Lisa, did I cover everything here? Is there anything you wanted to mention in this footprint?
No.
I always, okay. The Roy Prey repository, we're doing some work on the, there's a draining adit. And again, it's an adit that's draining on top of a waste rock pile. I think back in the early 2000s, the DRMS did a lot of work up there, and this is basically some maintenance. You know, you can see some of the channel was lined with that geotech material, and we need to go in there and pull some of that, replace some of that, make sure it's all covered, clean out a pond. Not too big of a deal on this project, just while we're up in the area. And I think that, you know, you can see that there is a road access into that, so I don't think we need to use helicopters for everything in there, but it's still a tough site to get to with equipment, so.
And any of the flying that we did last time for this project, we flew from both, road below this site in Hinsdale, as well as we also flew a few things from Forest Clean, which is at the bottom of Mini Gulch. So I'm not sure if that's what we would do again for, Wyoming, but likely.
Yeah,
You're bringing in crews per helicopter or?
Not crews,
Equipment?
just equipment.
Okay,
Yeah, the crews will all walk in.
Mhm.
And they count.
so like mini X's and skid steers and stuff, or?
The last one at Wyoming we did.
Yeah.
We're just planning on an excavator, mini X's this next time around.
It's
yeah.
gotta be expensive helicopter time.
Yeah.
And then, oh yeah, this is the cool boiler at the top of the San Juan Chief.
Big one.
Yes. Well, any questions for us? I think the plan is,
Fill us in, so, yeah.
I had just, so I had an opportunity to talk with our Road and Bridge crew, and just after we were there, and it just mentioned that we had met with you guys, and they asked what you guys have been working on, and they had a couple questions about, kind of the road closure there in,
Vermilion,
yeah.
the Vermilion,
Oh,
but
Yeah, yeah, and you know, at first they were like, oh, they're gonna close that road for the whole month of September, and I was like, no, I think they're gonna close it, so I think that. You know, just little information that they may have some more questions for you guys when that comes closer towards
But
September.
you guys should definitely be talking to Louis.
Yeah,
I've been trying
Yeah.
like heck.
Okay.
I'm pretty frustrated actually right now.
The only way you can talk to Louis is show, what time do they get to the shop at?
3 o'clock.
Oh,
yeah, or 8 in the morning.
Or 8 in the morning,
Or
just
7
go
in the
up in
morning.
person, he won't answer.
I realize that, and I've
So
done
if you
that
just-
again
If
and
you just,
again.
if you just show up in person,
Yeah.
yeah, that's the best thing, bring him back and show him what you're gonna do.
I know it's the best thing. And I'm like, how much time do I invest in trying to talk to him in person?
That's take an hour, maybe.
No, I mean, I've done this a lot,
Oh,
a lot.
Okay.
You know, I can,
Yeah,
we should even get together on that. I go to their office at 7:30 and I catch them every time. And they don't, you know, if you need help with that and get some time so you can talk to them, I can even help with that.
Time to go?
yeah, 7:30.
Okay, I don't need help. What I would like is to know that there's some communication going on between you guys and them and,
I'm in that shop a lot
okay, great.
and he communicates with them a lot.
Okay, well, I had a meeting
There's a lot
set
of
up.
communication going on.
I had a meeting set up with Louis and he stood me up and I've called him a gazillion times. I've emailed him and I've gone there several times and, you know, and he also tells me to go to his house. So I go to his house, like, You're like,
Yeah,
That's how I
there's-
used
I
to do
I
it.
don't actually mind if I had a ton of time, but you
I
know.
understand.
Yeah,
He's facing some health problems right now too, so.
Yeah.
Maybe a little slack on that end,
Uh-huh,
okay?
the last couple of weeks, he's not been on shift a whole lot,
yeah,
just good and stuff, so. We can't talk about it too much in the meeting. but,
yeah, oh, I
Dennis
understand.
will shock us.
But you could even just leave a couple pages of this is what we're planning on, where we're gonna close, at least he'd have that on his desk.
The other concern that they had was, just in the ditch reclamation area in Mineral Point and Denver Lake area. That area is really wet, as you guys know,
Mhm.
Got some
and
bog holes
they
sometimes.
they were just concerned about, their ability to be able to open the road in the spring.
Okay,
That basically if the area gets too wet and the county road gets too wet, then it may make their ability to open the county road there, impossible until July.
so what space are they, what,
Is it
Right,
that-
right by Denver Lake,
Is that that kind of wide area right by,
Yeah.
where it gets really wide right there, and as you come over the little hill right there,
Okay.
it gets really muddy.
No.
right?
yeah,
we don't have anything going there, the water right, is that what you're referring to?
The water
Right.
right ditch
And the-
reclamation.
you're not even messing with that drainage at all, okay,
Okay,
That-
good, yeah, they
that
were just,
answers that.
it was just
That's
something, they were like, oh, if they're gonna do work up there, we'd really like to be on site
No,
when they
the-
start, so we can.
The work is
make
at
sure
the
that
end, the
we're-
work's at the end of the road by Mineral Point. Where the
Right.
ditch, if you're talking about the ditch, it's by the Bill Young mine and the Red Cloud, that area, way at the end of the
Yeah.
road as you go into Mineral Point there, so.
Yeah,
But what,
so
I mean, really,
that area gets so deep in
yeah,
the springtime, and that's one of the hardest areas for them to open in the springtime, so they were just concerned that. Just if they had somebody on site, if you guys are doing work in that area with the dishes, just to make sure. That they're aware of kind of what you guys are doing and have a chance to get some input.
I so like, I tried so hard and I've asked Louis to come here, and if they all wanna come here, great, like, why can't they come to a commissioners meeting? I don't understand, what is? I don't know, like, that's what would be ideal, if we all could talk together. I don't. It would be so awesome. So they could hear what you guys are saying and, you know, like.
I mean,
have a three-way
They
conversation.
they do hear what we're saying, we're in the, like I said, the shop, it would be ideal if Louis, they would come to more meetings, but.
And they're not concerned about it right now, they're concerned about it when people start digging in. Like next to the county road,
Mhm.
and they just wanna make sure that.
Yeah.
It doesn't hinder their ability to open the roads in the spring.
Yeah.
Doesn't-
It sounds like you're not even in that
Yeah.
area, so.
Yeah, if you guys
It's a-
are doing work in that
moot point.
area, that's great,
Yeah.
so.
Right.
I'm just relaying what I was told the concerns were, so,
Understood.
yeah.
Well, I don't know if there would be a way for you guys to get them here, get somebody that represents them here at a meeting. Like one meeting a year, 2 meetings a year with us. We would appreciate it so much, and so we all be on the same page, cause having to track someone down. Again and again and again, it just doesn't work very well.
It's, and it's really difficult with them sometimes, like we've had Louis, yeah, we had him scheduled, I think, for 3 meetings in a row because he was. Out repairing flood damage on the roads one time, and then there was something else that had happened, and he was out in the county, like we
We can't even get a hold of it.
sometimes it's.
But you guys.
Sometimes it's not easy to have
right?
it.
I mean, he is supposed to be answering to you, correct? I mean, it's not like the chain of command,
Yeah,
well.
I don't think there's a real problem here that you're talking about. I can openly communicate with Louis, and we can certainly, between him and Louis, we can try to get him here, okay?
Yeah, I would,
All right.
I think that would be the
Yeah,
best way for us to solve any of our road issues, if he
Yeah.
would come to a meeting.
I mean, it would, but it just, from this, it wasn't requested that he be here for this meeting
It was,
not by the commissioners.
yes, I asked Willie invited
I
him,
notified him that there was a meeting tonight and what the topic was.
yeah,
Okay.
and
And I
I
did-
emailed
I did-
him and I called him several times.
And I
Okay,
did
I didn't
tell
know
him,
about that.
yeah, I didn't either, and 2 weeks ago when I spoke to him after our last meeting, let him know that you guys were coming back for this meeting. So that you would be here to speak at this meeting if he had any questions and wanted to show, but I didn't request his presence for sure, so.
Yeah,
Do you want to try another one this year and we can pair our presentation back to the key elements that we would want to communicate to the road and bridge folks? Or I know Lisa, I mean,
I'll track him down again, but
Yeah.
I'm just
Yeah.
really getting
Yeah.
frustrated with it.
Yeah.
I know you've been doing it the same way for years. You hunt him down. Never give up. She always finds him somewhere, but I know it's pretty frustrating for you, but, so you'll try to, that's how you're gonna.
If the county wants compliance from people that are using the roads, I mean, you've gotta have that communication piece with him, and he's gotta be communicating with us, and we've gotta be able to communicate with him effectively. And, I mean, this is the forum that's set up for that.
I would take Pete's suggestion as to if you need a little bit of help from Pete as
Yeah.
the road, but he's kind of our road and bridge commissioner, so
You are.
we try to.
I am, and I'm offering my help, but yeah, I think we can set up another meeting and.
You can just suggest, take your map, go with Pete down to the county shop at 7:30, catch Louis there and just outline.
Right. Or what do you think? Well, I mean, maybe we could set up a quick meeting. Again, he can be here, whatever you think.
I think the easiest way is to just take him in.
Okay. But I am willing to help you, Lisa, on this. I really am.
Why don't you guys just,
Hmm.
one of both you guys just go down at 7:30 and meet with Louis.
I know he's, and I think you mentioned that, the last couple of weeks, he hasn't been in a lot, so that's the only thing he's, finding out if he's ever gonna be working or not, but otherwise, yeah.
Yeah.
that'd be the quick thing.
Well, I did set up a meeting with him, after he missed this, because I invited him to the last meeting, he didn't show. He said he was gonna try, he didn't show, so I called him immediately, tried to set up a meeting. And, we did set up a meeting for that Friday, and I was going there, and he was leaving on the grader, and I was like, "Wait, we have a meeting," and he just kept on going. So, he's probably upset with me right now, but I don't think that he, I don't know, but I'm just frustrated.
Yeah.
I feel your frustration. I don't think he's upset with you. We'll just try to rectify this.
Yeah,
Okay,
all right.
we can help.
Is that all you guys got for us?
Is that?
I think, yep, that's it. We covered so much in that first meeting. We just really had the San Juan Chief was our biggest project that we wanted to talk to you guys about tonight. Yeah, okay, so we will get this presentation. We're gonna add a list of equipment for each site. Lisa, you're gonna work with Pete to get in touch with Louis. Okay. All right, that works. Hopefully that's more effective. Poor Lisa. Thank you for not giving up those things every year.
You have to.
Yeah, I know,
You have
I
to be
know.
able to talk.
Yeah, you spend a lot of time doing that, so much appreciated. And thanks again for the time tonight. I think that's all we've got for you.
That's all I got. Yeah.
Okay.
If I had something, in fact, we got a perfect time. Let me know what your schedule is Monday,
Mhm.
because we're getting a new loader demo,
Mhm.
and I know they're gonna be there.
What time is
Ah.
that?
8:00.
And
They're
are they
gonna
gonna
be
be busy
really,
with a loader?
right, but right after that,
Yeah.
we set it up for right after that. Because they're gonna be right there and they're gonna be excited.
They're gonna see me show up on this. This is gonna go.
Well, or let me do some communication on that. I think that might be a good time, so right after they go up the loader, so it's not a waste of your time. And then we go in, you got your maps and stuff and
Okay,
see what we can do.
okay.
I'm
Let's go do it soon.
trying to help. I want to help on this, okay?
Thanks, Pete.
Thank you. Yeah. Thank you. All right. Thanks, guys. Have a good night.
Yeah.
Thank you, guys.
Thanks.
When I think we should probably move through some of our correspondence and sales tax stuff first for another few minutes before we start with our next meeting. Um.
Like 2024 is all around.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, those taxes looking good, lodging tax not so much.
But it comes in that, quarterly format and wintertime is not
It's, yeah, I mean,
always
you
the
know, I
biggest,
can't.
so.
Right.
You know, you can't track it in month by month, it's just because. you
Yeah, I
know,
mean.
It just doesn't work that way.
Does
I mean,
March,
it's just,
$209. I mean, even the previous month, there was a lot more lodging tax than that.
Yeah,
but it's just the way that it's paid, you know,
Yep.
some are quarterly, some are semi-annual. It just, yeah, it just,
yeah,
there's no real rhyme or reason to it, but.
yeah,
But the sales taxes, I mean, you know, I think it's trending low, so I'm guessing it's gonna be down a little bit. You know, we won't do it for sure,
yeah,
but sales taxes are actually looking strong.
yeah. I just said one kind of comment on the remote stuff is it seemed like remote used to be kind of a little bit more all over the board and it seems like it's starting to kind of fall into a little bit more of a
Yeah.
pattern and
Yeah.
I think that's just compliance. I feel like year-end stuff, there might have gotten stuff that was missed that we would, receive larger payments in January and I think just that's kind of the normalizing of
Yeah.
paying about sales
Yeah.
tax. That's all I gotta, yeah.
So, it's amazing, I would have assumed COVID remote would have been really high, and then drop off, but if you look at 2023. It's hardly dropped off at all.
Well, I think part of it is just the boom of getting things through mail,
Yeah.
well, and there's so much of it, too, that is just,
Yeah, I mean, I think COVID really got people used to.
Using it, and then now it's just
You know,
commonplace.
I mean, there was already quite a bit of online going, but, COVID kind of got people used to buying everything and anything.
yeah.
They just do more and more, I mean.
Yep.
Our UPS driver said it's like Christmas every day now.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Same with the FedEx guys, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Treasurer's report, I think we could probably, got a couple minutes.
You feeling all right about any balance and things like that, really, it looks pretty good, so.
yeah, no, I think it's okay. No, I think you're right, I mean, I think it's good.
Road and bridge is still looking.
Yeah, right, maybe it's gonna be. Excuse me, struggling, but I think we'll be all right.
Also too, I mean, a lot of our property tax money's coming in now too towards
Right, I mean,
some stuff, obviously it's not gonna be.
if you didn't pay first half, you have to pay
Due
full.
end of April.
Full tax the end of April, so
Yeah,
we'll start seeing this, and then if you did pay your first half, you don't pay your second half until
June.
like the 22nd of June, the 23rd of June or something. Then-
But there'll be a big batch coming in.
So, yeah, so, and then,
yeah,
we did get some, cooperative agreement money from EPA.
Oh.
Covered some administrative costs and then rate costs, so it was about 22,000.
Wow.
We'll take it.
Yep.
alright. Any other comments, questions on treasurer's report?
No.
Alright. Do you have anything else you wanted to bring up? I think if not, if we didn't have anything else quick to do, I think we can start our next appointment a couple minutes early.
Yeah, I think, you know, I think that since it's not a public hearing or anything, if you want to start a shooting, that's early, it's not.
Sure. Right, Clark, are you here?
Oh, yeah, I'm here.
No?
How's it going? How's it going? Good, good. I'm not in a rush, because no playoffs tonight. So I guess, I know you probably had in your packet that letter.
Yep.
Pretty much on here. Yep. Basically, just repeat that stuff and try to flesh out some things. We've been trying to upgrade our wildland department for quite a while. And just never worked out with personnel or whatever, but got pushed by Dustin. And it's kind of sparked some more interest in, but we got some younger guys now that are really.
Can I ask you, I mean, it seems like your roster is full of younger guys now,
Yeah, it's
I mean,
best we've had in years.
in a year, right?
And so our goal is to keep them motivated, and that's the other thing, they're motivated too, it's not like just wanting a t-shirt. They're yeah, I'm pretty proud of them. We've got now probably not a half, but a third of our roster now is firefighter one and has been trained. So yeah, we're progressing in that direction. We're gonna keep our foot on the gas if we can. And this is a development more of that kind of thing. Yeah, Dustin's helped a lot with just some the groundwork he's got laid out for us. Yeah, so we've wanted to do it for a while, so we're a couple of weeks ago at our meeting, we said, yep, let's do it. So we're establishing this thing, we're gonna go for it, we're gonna go whole hog, and I think it would be good on a number of reasons. You know, obvious local response, if something's happened, we're ready to go. But also, it's, you know, like a lot of other departments, if we're gonna have some downtime, if we have resources available, we can send them out, help other places in the state and eventually in the nation, or like I said, it's gonna be a building process.
Now,
Yeah.
for something like that though, are they gonna be taking our equipment out of the county, or we're gonna try to keep it in the county because of fire danger for our own county or something like
Exactly,
that?
this is further on down the list here.
Okay.
Yes, so. It's, so this is becoming like a two-tiered thing. Yes, we'll have our equipment here. Right now, we have a rudimentary thing. We've got, one Type 6 engine, got our water tender, and our little UTV. But then, you know, pickups and stuff, we need to go somewhere else. So this is a building block. Yeah, we probably wouldn't want to take that, away. But having this kind of division available, we'd have to add equipment for sure. Yeah, so we don't want to, you know, take away from what we got. In fact, we want to actually build on what we have. So our equipment right now is, you know, we probably got enough for 5 guys to be completely, you know, can be a up to snuff kind of situation. We'd want to keep that and then build on it, because we'd also obviously be some overlap and some overspill type stuff that could only be beneficial to us. If we, you know, because we've got to build it, and then when it's there, it's there for us to use as well. Another part of this we'd be working with well, county as well as Fed, like BLM and Forest Service. If their jobs around, you know, mitigation type things, like Dustin's really more versed on the specifics of that type of a response. But you know, if somebody's not out fighting fire, they can be out working some mitigation type situations. Whatever we can work out with BLM and Feds, because of course they have to be involved with it.
we're also really, involved with the state, the wildland division there in our region, Region 4. In fact, Logan Davis is our regional director. He's actually coming up next week and go through more of the weeds type things that we're doing. I've already started signing us up for various state programs that are necessary to do this kind of thing. And yeah, so he's all for it. He's like wants to do it more than we do. So it's going to be so helpful getting us all up to, this is where you need to be and all those kind of things as far as organization and administration type stuff. The other thing is, because it's going to be built up, it's not, I wouldn't call it, it's not a business, because it's, our main job is, prevention here. But if we have this organization arm of our department set up to do these things, it's,
It can
I mean,
it can generate revenue.
we can, indeed,
Yeah,
yes, we
definitely.
can.
I mean,
trying to not-
that team would
Yes.
be paid and that could come back to
Yeah.
the fire department.
Yeah, the
easily.
goal is not just, oh, let's do this, let's make a bunch of money. It's get our situation in order, and then as we can grow and progress, and then yeah, as it grows, then more money does come in.
Right.
But also that can be able to support jobs, actually.
Sure. Well, you can farm those guys out and then, but they're also,
Right,
if they're not working a job,
Right,
then
and
they're
they're,
here to fight something
right.
in this county. or
and they're
something
able
like that.
to be here year round. Like I know in the winter, there's a lot of wildland firefighters come up here for the winter activities, but then they have to go somewhere else to work. In this situation, no, they can just stay here and work from town.
What would you do during the winter? I mean, would you be
There's
going to, I could see like
You can.
February or March, like heading down to Arizona to fight a fire.
Well, if we've got the guys here.
Yeah.
And yeah, then yes, if they're called for as a resource. Yeah, it's some places it's a year-round job. So we can do that.
And by farming out that crew, is that, as you said, we want to do year-round jobs, by farming out that crew, would that be earning money to keep these guys going year-round then?
Exactly.
Okay.
That's it's kind of a machine. I mean, Dustin, he's been in the industry. So he knows how that kind of stuff works. I don't know if you have anything to add to that kind of situation. But,
No, I guess, the state of Colorado already has rates for different resources. And essentially if the fire department was able to get 5 guys, or folks, we can create a suppression module. And if you have a UTV included with that, the daily rate's $700 a day on top of what your personnel are getting paid. So most fire assignments are 14 days long. So that comes out to about $10,900 you're making for a 14-day assignment. So and going back to what your concern earlier, Scott, about sending resources away if they're needed here, just due to the typical fire season here in Silverton. I mean, May, June, you're having an active fire season in the Southwest or other areas of the US, but not really concerned here at that point. So I think there is a swath of the season where it would be easy to send folks off
Sure.
elsewhere.
Yeah, because normally a normal was mid-May through the end of June was our dangerous time here, and that would be nice to have a crew here. But then as the monsoons come in, that drops your fire danger down, but it doesn't necessarily drop it down. And maybe, well, Oregon's a great example, they don't get any rain at that time, so Oregon would be a place, Washington, Northern California, places like that, so.
And if the crew got large enough, if we got 10 people or, over time, other departments will have folks available for deployment elsewhere.
right, that's what
And they'll keep folks around.
that's what I was gonna go to is, yeah, when we were doing our discussions about, can we do this? Do we want to do this? All of those kind of things. Pretty much like I said, we're gonna, we want it to grow. So that if a team is out on somewhere, there's still enough people around. We wouldn't send
Right.
everybody, you know.
Right.
So that's that much more benefit because we have a larger crew still here
Right.
as well as the crew
I
out.
mean, the ice fire is a great example of
Sure.
a time where we don't even think there's gonna be a fire, but there was,
Exactly.
so.
Exactly. So
Do you guys have, I know you have the experience, Dustin, do you have other guys lined up with your type of experience right now? Or is part of the fire department taking training, or how are you guys doing that to get that?
Yeah.
Get that crew with enough
Exactly.
experience, I guess.
yeah, we've got next month, well, a couple weeks, we'll have 10 more guys certified. Actually, Logan, the guy from the safety's coming up, he's doing our training, and that's, we'll have the S-130, S-190 red card situation.
So
And then-
10 guys with red cards, or 10 additional guys.
Right, exactly, we have 4 or 5 right now, so
So you have like almost 15
And
red card, or
I'd
12,
say-
maybe a dozen, maybe.
I like the dozen better than
Okay.
that.
But that's a lot.
Then the key is getting guys like Dustin and the other guys that are in town incorporated. That's how you get the training going and that kind of thing. And it's another benefit for, some of our younger guys, if maybe something happens, they do get to go out on a couple of weeks deployment and, pay them in.
Does that change any of your insurance, anything like that?
I was gonna ask, what about this?
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's raising his hand.
That's on my list too. It's not what, really a form I want to submit. This is just like doodling, telling stuff to you guys. This is kind of a bare minimum for what we're talking about.
I have some other questions too, when you're ready for me.
But see, I got a question mark about the insurance because I need to ask about, see what Willie found out. Go ahead.
Go ahead, Dennis.
Okay, so I'm Dennis Galbraith. I'm the county attorney. I had some questions, and I haven't had a lot of interaction with the authority. Looking back at the transfer file from Paul Sunderland, it looks like there was some pretty extensive activity followed by not a lot of activity by Paul, and there's just a lot of information there that I would want to get up to speed on, so I understand some possible issues here. I can tell you wildland fire, totally highly lucrative. I've represented 2 fire districts, and frankly the wildland fire crews were just a huge boost to the budget for the fire districts. And it almost sounds morbid, but the heavy fire years were the best years. And so I understand that. I think there are some, certainly some issues here that need to be researched and looked into. I think the issue regarding, what is the purpose of the authority? Is the purpose of the authority to provide fire protection within the town and the county? Certainly that was the primary purpose. And then if you're going to go beyond that and utilize the wildland fire crews to bolster the financial end of it, I guess I'd want to look at that a little bit. And then secondly, I didn't get an answer back yet from CTSI. So as the board may or may not know, CTSI, or the pool as we call it, the county pool, has insured the authority because of the fact that this started back at the commencement 2011, and they basically needed us as the county to support or to provide at least 51% of the support for the authority, financial support, and then they could cover them in the pool. My concern, and I haven't got an answer back from CTSI on the specific issue of wildland crews, is in the past when I've looked into the county providing services outside of the county, it has been okay. Outside of the state, however, I've been told CTSI won't cover. And again, that wasn't wildland fires, or that wasn't fire department issues. That was actually a road and bridge issue when we were looking at maintaining some roads in Utah. And they said, you're not going to have coverage. You're not going to have coverage over there. So I would want to look into that pretty heavily, and I would also want to get up to speed and look at some of these documents. It looked, like I said, I mean, it looked like Paul used to correspond pretty regularly with the authority's attorney. Does the authority have an attorney right now?
Yes, we haven't talked in a while, but, because we haven't eaten, but, Frank and Easy is who we've always used.
Frank is your attorney?
Yeah, Frank is, he's the one we've always used, yeah.
Okay, so I would say number one, before you take any steps forward, you're going to need to talk with your attorney about liability issues, insurance issues, anything else that comes up. And then we're going to have a conversation between, I'll have to have a conversation with him and the town's attorney just to issue spot to see if there are any other concerns that anyone has going forward. And then, of course, waiting for CTSI's blessing on the county insurance. But I don't want you to feel like I'm being negative towards the wildland fire issue, because, like, again, I completely recognize the financial boon it can be for fire departments to have wildland fire crews, and to have, like you said, to have those crews receive those kinds of training on a pretty consistent basis by going on federal fires or state fires. I get that completely, but I think we need to step carefully here. We need to get all the parties involved that need to be involved. And, just in looking at some prior agreements between the town and the authority and the county, I didn't see any mention of wildland fire crews in there. It looks like the purpose of the authority has always been to provide fire protection in the town and the county. So, we would just need to revisit that and maybe change some terminology and just make sure that we can do this.
Do you have to change bylaws or anything like that to do some of that, or?
I'd have to read them before I could tell you that. And like I said, it's a pretty big file, and it, aside from some insurance issues that came up previously that Willie and I dealt with, I haven't had to delve into the sausage making at the authority. Perhaps you could reach out to Frank and Easy and have him give me a shout. I know Frank very well, and we'll see what his thoughts are, or if you want to talk with him first and preface the conversation and see, take it from there.
Oh, you bet, I'm definitely do that.
And then I, of course, would forward, I've got Willie CC'd on the CTSI email string, so as soon as we get a response from them, and that isn't necessarily a bar. If CTSI says we won't insure that, I mean, there could be other options there as well for insurance and all that good stuff. But we definitely want to work through it, because that's certainly a dangerous activity, and could be some potential for liability issues.
I think it's a good step forward for the fire department. I know you guys are working, trying to get this, and I understand you guys are having some classes come into town for getting members of the fire department red card certified, and this summer, which I think will be great, and great resources. And I think it builds on everything that you guys have built at the fire department and continue to try and build here. Gilbert mentioned that you guys are the next big equipment purchase is going to be looking at a new brush truck eventually.
If we can get this worked out, the time is here, so that's I'll put up the question mark there.
Yeah.
We were anticipating, getting maybe a get by type situation at first, get a used thing, it's serviceable.
Yeah.
And then, because that's gonna be 150 grand versus 500,000, so, yeah, we were talking, like I said, we were wanting to make this thing as big as we can, if we can work it out,
Yeah.
but we're talking, in a year or two, couple of years, even 3 years, 2 or 3 type 3 engines, bunch of crew and people, we're looking big at it, what we're, maybe, we're hopeful.
I know La Plata brought on a full-time grant writer, and their job has become mostly wildland fire related, but that person's brought in over $2 million in funding to La Plata County for grant funding in the last 2 years.
So we're
So
definitely looking at maintenance.
that's pretty, yeah, so that's a pretty good chunk of.
And that's right.
Is that person worthwhile talking to by the department?
It definitely-
They've been applying for grants for wildland, I mean, that's right, that would be right up our alley.
I think Dustin's got some great connections and I think a lot of us are gonna need to have some conversations with these folks to make sure we can, expedite this process and do the best that we can to.
Yeah, we'd like to do it as soon as possible, so, that's why we're real early on, obviously, so that's why we're here.
And I know I talked to Dustin a little bit about this just briefly, but BLM came and met with us and they're doing fire mitigation projects in Hinsdale, starting this summer. And they would like to start looking at potentially doing some projects here, so I think the stars are kind of aligning for this thing.
Well, that would be another way to generate revenue too, is consultation on mitigation. I mean, Cascade Village called in, was it the Durango Fire Marshal? Was it? I mean, they called down and said, we know we can't get insurance because we haven't done any mitigation. Can you come help us? And Durango Fire Department came and helped them. But it would be nice to be able to have our department do something like that and charge a consultation fee.
Cascade's gonna be doing a lot of mitigation in the next 5 to 10 years, I think, and I think. It would be great if our department and our guys could get in on doing some of that work. The BLM says that they typically, so they have a management plan, they develop a management plan, and then they work with a kind of a local Western Slope entity. And I don't have that information. I was looking through it before my meeting, but I have the wrong notebook, so I'll have to find the other notebook with some of those names from Kaminsky, but basically they turn it over to an organization, the Western Slope, that is more regionally funded, and then those folks kind of contract out. So I think we need to get in touch with those folks too, and just kind of see what requirements they have of us to do this mitigation projects. And how to integrate and how to best, if we're gonna be competing against other Western Slope entities in our own backyard for things, like how do we best compete for the projects here and projects elsewhere in the Western Slope?
And hopefully we're not the same situation we've seen with EPA and BLM, where it's not local contractors, it's contractors from somebody else at a much higher price, so.
Yeah.
And so it's meeting where I'm having Monday, Logan's gonna be here all day, he's out of Cortez, this is the reason for it is, and he's gonna be here all day, and this is where we're gonna get in the weeds on that kind of stuff. He's already sent me a bunch of stuff that I've already started, some grants the state has, and as you're talking about homeowners, I know there is a state grant, if you guys are aware, for landowner homeowners to get, if they're gonna do mitigation. So it's their deal, they have to go to the state and do it, but I have all that information too, but just as an aside.
Is that a homeowner program or is that a landowner program?
I would,
It's probably.
yeah, I think it probably is.
There's a couple different programs, there's like a home hardening grant.
That's it.
And
I'm talking about.
that one's more specifically like building materials in your house. And then there's another grant, I don't remember the name, but that basically offsets the cost of doing fire mitigation property.
And does that include, just private property owners, like a homeowner, or does it include commercial? Like Cascade?
No,
It's private, it's.
I mean, I know, and I think, well, I know, several of the, subdivisions in Nevada County have gotten, grant money
State
to
grant,
do
mitigation.
fire mitigation. And it's usually like a 50-50 match, and, often it's, scheduling like the Southwest, I can't think what they're called. The group that the Baker's Park had up here working on the trails, yeah.
Yeah.
And, they'll come in and do a bunch of, knocking down some trees and stuff. But it's,
That's another project that, I don't know how much it gets into trail maintenance stuff, but in big avalanche slide years, picking apart debris and things like that. There's a lot of solid skills and things like that too,
Yeah.
to get through
And more.
and, yeah.
In the wilderness.
So, yeah,
Yeah.
I don't know if there's any potential there too, but just something to keep in mind as we move forward with it.
Yeah, we're looking at all of that.
Yeah. Yeah,
And. There's a couple of things on my little list there. Initially, we wanted to start with 10 guys. But, it's a lot of money to start with. So anyway, we pared that down to 5, and then if summer goes on, we need more, we'll, adjust as we go. So like I said, this was a new experience for most of us, and we're wanting to see it grow, but when we don't know how fast, so it is what it is there. And most of that admin, there's talking about the grants we're talking about. A great much of that money is just going to be writing grants, I'm sure. Yeah, I don't know, that's pretty much what I had as far as the presentation. And I think y'all asked most of the questions we were thinking about.
Did we already fund some of the wildland training? Didn't we fund some of that or not? I don't know why that's in my head.
A couple of years ago. That was for the structural training as firefighter 1 class.
Okay. But we haven't funded wildland education.
No, whenever we've done that, we just pulled it out of our regular training.
Okay.
But if this were to progress, we would have to do that, yeah.
I know from my past experience, one of the learning curves is the billing procedures for federal fires, especially, and it's pretty it gets pretty touchy, but man, it's really lucrative. I 100% agree with that. But yeah, I think it's a really good thing if it works, and it would be nice if you had people that had done wildland fires before, administered them, especially with federal fires or state fires, if you get that far. Just to walk through the process for billing and just being able to admin all that stuff is pretty time consuming, but like I said, lucrative.
You have some of that experience, Dustin, administrative or anything like that?
Not much on the admin side,
Okay.
but I've worked on federal incidents and
Sure.
working with Scott Nielsen, who's the battalion chief of the wildfire division in Durango. He's built that program from nothing. So he's a really great asset. I'm gonna be working for him this summer, and he's been very willing in the past to either provide training or any insight. So I think that's a huge resource using our neighbors to the south. And yeah, they've done a really good job building their program, and I think it helps create a framework for the program we could build up here.
Sure.
And it's just that initial kickstart of being able to have the time to go after these grants. I mean, the amount of money out there right now is pretty incredible. It's a huge national push, as I know all of you know. So I think just need to prioritize that as a community. And once once we start, I think it'll unfurl itself from there.
Yeah, we're looking at this as just a seed.
I would definitely talk to their grant writer and see if they got some advice on where we should be going with that.
You know, I already got 2 or 3 lined up
Nice.
to go that way, but yeah, we're gonna look all of these people up.
Yeah, that's great.
You guys have anything else?
I have one quick thing, it wasn't on the agenda, but just want to put this on your guys' radar. All of our SCBA's, our breathing apparatus. The newest ones we have are 8 years old. The company is Honeywell, Spirion. I've been traded back and forth over the last few years. Honeywell is getting out of the air apparatus business. We've known that for a couple of years. That's why I've been applying for the FEMA grant, AFG grant every year to get those replaced. I think we're so small that it's, it's hard to get that kind of money. But since it comes down the pipe from our tech guy, who always comes and checks our apparatus every year, they were talking about quitting this year. And as soon as that happens, NIOSH will pull the certification on those apparatus.
Oh, wow.
So we will have 0 SCBA's. So we're working on that. There's some more weeds to get into, because the warranty is another 7 years. There's 15-year warranty on them. So they're talking about class action lawsuits or even just individual lawsuits.
They're not gonna continue their warranty.
Yeah, so that right there I've given you is pretty much it. We are facing the possibility of losing all of our SCBA's.
Grants out there that you know?
Well, like I said, I've been trying for the last few years with this AFG grant, the FEMA grant.
Sure.
Because the last one was $190,000 to replace what we have. Because we knew that they were going away at some point. So I've been trying to get this as soon as possible, but
What about working with Office of Emergency Management? See if they might know of some grants out there that would help you with something like that.
yeah, we'll take it from anybody anywhere.
Sure, and if you have a chance, talk to Jim and see if, I mean, he's always here or something, so he's landed some pretty good grants lately for us, so.
Good. So we'll definitely do that. I'm just laying it out there because we're gonna be trying it from now on. We're, hot footing it, trying to find what we can so we can replace these. But it may come to a 50 grant match or
How
something,
much was one apparatus cost?
$20,000.
10,000. How many do you guys got?
We've got 18 that I consider first line, and then we've got 6 spares.
Wow.
So,
Even if there's parts available, you can't get certification. Once at a certain.
right.
Okay.
Like as soon as Honeywell says, yeah, this is it, NIOSH will put that rating. And then our tech guy, he can't even look at, he can't touch
That's
them.
like a-
Look at them.
It's almost like a unfunded mandate. You gotta have these things, but how are you gonna fund it?
So I'd say 20,000. Depending on what features you get in this,
Right.
14, 15 on the low side. Yeah, because that one I was only asked, FEMA grant on last vote was we were trying to get 12 of them replacing, it was 190,000.
Have you talked to other departments that are, there's gotta be a lot of other departments in the same.
There are, we,
Or do they not have the
it's
same?
a
apparatus?
smaller, it's a smaller brand, essentially, so in Colorado, probably 15 to 20% departments use this, most of them use MSAs, so, or
How much-
Scots.
how much are
Those
they?
two, they're all the same.
They are, okay.
Right. But those are the 2 big brands, and then we've got, ours is,
It sounds like something we gotta definitely be looking at a grant right
Well, it's
now
been-
for, just because it's like a cloud hanging over our heads.
so we're pursuing every grant we can.
Okay.
I just want to let you guys know, it's conceivable.
It's coming sooner than later, yeah.
Yeah, 50% match or something, it could be coming to that point, but, that would be the end of the year, that when when they pull that certificate.
Yikes.
Wow. Hopefully they say, oh, fuck that, excuse me, we screwed up and then we're not gonna do that. Well, that'd give us another couple, 3 years.
That would be nice.
Yeah. Hopefully, yeah.
God, I can't
Give
even
us-
imagine litigation.
Give us more time
This will
to act
evolve.
on it, for sure, so.
So
But,
there it is.
but even as you said, like your newest ones are 8 years old, so, and I think Gilbert did warn us that some of the CDAs that you guys have are nearing their end of.
They are,
storage
so-
lifetime as it is, so.
Yeah,
Yeah.
the rating is, every 7 years as they put out a new, requirements and that kind of thing, so. The ones we have are on the 2013 standard.
Did we buy those through grants or did we fund that or how did we do that?
It was both, is the way I remember the last one, yeah.
Okay,
I think Christina got a grant. And so that was in 2000,
so that's long.
that was 2016, so those are on the 2013 standard, so. If we were gonna replace anything, it has to be on the 21 standards,
Okay. Thanks for the heads up on that, but,
yeah.
I guess keep forward all those stuff, sounds like you got a lot of
There it
great
is.
work on.
So yeah, we'll work with, we'll get with Frank on this. And come back when we know a little bit more, and then find us some.
All right, thanks, Mark.
Thank you, guys.
Yeah, thanks for doing this, this is cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thanks, folks.
Definitely be off on the crew.
Thank you, Clark.
Thank you, guys.
Appreciate it.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you.
That's a full page of notes on that.
Yeah. All right, well,
I believe we can move on to our next appointment here, Tommy.
Yo,
Yeah.
how are you kids this evening?
Pretty good, young man.
Yes, yo. I wish. Federal government's trying to take the veteran service officer out of this county. Because they say now the veteran service officer. I can't hear, sorry, Tommy. Okay.
No.
Okay, thank you. They say the veteran service officer now has to put in 20 hours a week. And, I can't do it personally. I mean, I just have to, I mean, you know what summer's like.
Sure.
If I had another 20 hours a week,
Yeah,
it's
no way.
just no way to do it, so, you know, I've gotta step away. Be just like when I took over from Gerald, he said, "You're the youngest one in the group, you it." And I didn't have a choice.
Right.
So I just learned it as I went along. But, they want to combine, jump in when you have something to say, please. And they want to combine us with La Plata County. So there's a service officer down here that'll come up every now and then to see to Silverton and kind of do what I've been doing, you know, and it's just not as easy as all that sounds. I don't know, it just seems like people are just trying to take away from this county all the time. They're just, you know, they're trying to do it. And I, you know, I think if somebody else took over, you know, and there's 2-3 people out there that are interested in doing it, they could do the 20 hours a week because there's all kinds of things that you could do. I was doing 20 hours a week easily when I took over because I had claims, I had all this stuff, I was ordering grave markers and you name it. I mean, I was busy. And you know, the town, you know, I mean, people pass on, so we don't have as many veterans in town as we used to, and you know, and one of the things that I think has hurt us in the big time is when we sold the Legion building. That was a community center, and we put a lot of things on over there.
That should never have happened.
That should have never happened. I didn't vote for it, but you know, it was, you know, a Democratic vote. But anyhow, I think if somebody jumped in there and put and did some community services, you know, with the veterans and stuff like that. I mean, this winter we tried, you know, I tried to get a few guys together in the winter, just, I mean, not a Legion meeting, but kind of call it like a Legion meeting, and we'd go down to the Grand and wanted to play some cards or something together, and hell, we never did get to play cards. Every time we went down there, we started talking about veterans benefits and stuff like that, and it was very informative.
This needs to be talked about.
Just
Yeah,
needed to be
yeah.
talked about and just other things than just the Legion meeting. And, I would just hate to see us lose a veteran service officer up here because they think that we can't do 20 hours.
Is that a state mandate?
No, it's federal. now.
Federal,
yes.
It has to be, we expect 20 hours a week and there's also certification.
What are we,
Now,
we're not funding Tommy that much, are we, or are we?
What's that?
Are we funding Tommy 20 hours?
No,
Okay,
no, we get about 13,000 a year from. For veteran services.
okay. We're getting that from the state, or is that?
It comes from
From the federal.
It's-
Trickle
from
down.
the state.
Trickle
Oh,
down.
yeah, of course.
Okay, but they're saying they want 20 hours a week. Did you say 20 hours a week?
a
Yes.
week,
Week,
1,000 hours a year.
1,000 hours a year.
how many hours would you estimate? you've got?
Well, I'll tell you, I've been real lax with the hours that I've put in, because I don't count the hours when I run somebody. I mean, I should probably run somebody down to Grand Junction or Veterans or take John or whoever down to Durango, you know?
Which is an all-day trip.
Yeah, you know, and I mean, so there's hours I could certainly add on to.
Let me ask you this real quick, Tommy, and with the hours being, and this is with all you guys, does the 20 hours, I know it goes to the VSO, can that be allocated down to like his, adversaries, like me? To help run them down? I mean, we want to keep this program in the, in
keep
this
it in the
area,
county.
because, you know, we're losing a lot of community outreach in this area. I mean, no matter what, we lost the VFW. We have only the American Legion.
Right, but you don't have a common point to meet.
Then we don't have a common point, a meeting point and anything else. We don't have Elks Club. We don't have all these like, you know, outreach communities that we have in this county or like what Durango has. Where that has been lost in time, it was being, you know, probably during like the buying times when they were being, you know, deleted out of here and such. But with Tommy's expression here, I feel that if we keep the veterans community and anything community here in outreach brings us more money, yes. It does bring us a community aspect, and people need that. As y'all know, as you guys been voted as commissioners and administrator.
There's other things that we can do, just decide meeting with the veterans and stuff like that. There's all kinds of things. I mean, this would include like organizing the Memorial Day ceremonies and stuff like that, you know, I mean, Gary Davis does a lot of that, but he could, you know, I mean, he's got to cut back.
Unfortunately, a lot of the guys who did that are getting older.
No kidding.
And
I mean, that's happening with.
Huh?
That's happening with many of our organizations, you know, like historical society, all getting
Do
older.
you guys have a good point of contact that we can send a letter from the?
Well, I was hoping, Christie is the main contact down in Durango. She was our Southwest Service Officer. I mean, she was godsend for me, but I mean,
I'll get you some information. We'll get you.
we'll get you, yeah, Willie's got the information.
I sent her email inviting her to the meeting tonight.
Oh, that would've been cool. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
and I tried to call her a couple of times because she said she'd be.
But I talked to her a couple times, basically where they're coming from, is they just don't think there's enough work up here that would justify a 20-hour week position, and that basically our only alternative is to contract with an adjoining county.
Yeah.
Apparently, Uray County is a contractor with Montrose County. There's some others. She sent sent me a couple of governmental agreements, you know, between two counties as to how it would work. Dennis has done a little work on it because they've had some, you know, they kind of dealt with it over in Dolores County as well, and they decided that, I mean, they determined to keep their own veteran service over officer in Delta, or in Dolores County, I'm sorry.
Can I ask real quick about, how much, did they get in revenue, versus, what we would ever lose in revenue? Does that make sense?
So this,
I mean, if we're still getting revenue from the state and everything like that,
okay, yeah, I mean.
are we gonna truly lose anything? Or
If-
gain, or can we, with the gain out of it?
No, if we're getting 13,000 a year,
That's gain,
uh,
that's
what we get
gain,
every-
correct?
that's what, yeah.
Okay, cool.
You know, if you have an employee, working 1,000 hours a year at, $20 an hour.
That's
Yeah, there's 20,000 plus because of all your
Yes,
payroll expenses as well, so you're talking about 23,000, so it would cost the county about 10,000.
so you're looking at about 10,000. So if it's possible that the person that actually takes the position, could they give their work need to charity back to the, community? I mean, as far as donating the $20,000 or the $10,000 extra, can that be returned back to the community? If, let's say
You
someone
can do
do a
with your money
job.
whatever you want. I mean, if you're making, you can do, if you do whatever you want.
Okay, well, cool, so, okay, that makes sense, okay.
Is there a separate line item on the county budget for veterans? Separate, a real line item for veterans?
Yes.
Not, is there?
Yeah.
Okay.
That's that 13,000. The
Well,
line item
that's
is
what we're
there.
gonna do, was then we have an expenditure, we have Tommy and.
And that's what we get right, that right through, we're making it like 10,000.
We give raise to less.
Okay,
Well,
that
I
makes
think
sense.
we
That makes sense.
I think what Mike was asking,
Make
is
sure that.
out of that 13,000, when I get paid,
The money doesn't-
what happens to the leftover? It goes to the general fund?
No, it all stays in the.
Yeah, that should,
There's
veterans should have a separate
For the
fund,
veterans.
so everything goes
Tommy's the name.
in there, and if it's being given to the veterans, the veterans should, huh? Yeah.
Hold on.
Sorry, Tommy, could you repeat that?
We had a couple conversations going. on.
Yeah, sorry.
I'm not working out that yet.
Or I was.
I'm saying,
Yeah.
instead of going into the general fund, if you had a veterans, what am I trying to
Well, what's happened is we pay for Tommy's time up to a certain amount, but then Willie's saying if there's leftover money, it just goes into the general fund. And I think these guys made a good point that it should stay in a fund for veterans.
Thank you.
Yes, thank you, thank you,
For
thank you.
years, so it was reverse. We got little or nothing, and the county picked up the tab. And some of our expenses that come in, and it's only happened a couple of times, is if there's a veteran that has no ability to pay for burial services, then the burden is on the county to pick up all those costs. And, you know, but it's something that happens. So,
This is something the veteran service officer could look into. My name's Brent Teague, for anybody I haven't met, hasn't met me, but there are programs and funds that are accessible to help with situations like a burial, or, there's, retirement, the pension that you didn't know about.
What are you looking at me for?
Well, no, this is.
Thinking that's the old guy? Come on.
Until I ask you.
But there is a
You
grant.
haven't heard about it. And what I'm saying is there are hours to be had. However, Ms. Cunningham in Durango has, unbeknownst to the veterans in the community, contacted the county, San Juan County, and said, we want to form a joint, fund.
I didn't know that.
Okay, so we don't know that, these things, and it's important to us as veterans, there's 38 veterans, our county judge is a veteran. Willie Tukey's own dad was in World War II, okay. We lost Vince a few years ago, but there are veterans here like Harvey Cook, for those of you who may know him, who demand a lot of attention and care, and the veteran service officer can do way more than 20 hours. If I were a veteran service officer, I could put in 40 easy. The question is, if we're gonna maintain that in our county, which we should, I think we should turn Christie's offer down and her forms should go back where they came from. But how do we fund an adequate service from the veteran service officer role without taking additional monies from the county? If we're getting 13 grand from the state, we can fill those hours out.
A lot of
Do
it,
that.
a lot of those should come like with also the American Legion and the veteran foreign wars, but we've lost a lot of our support in community. And those of you guys who've been here throughout the time know that there was a VFW, there was a American Legion, well, withstanding American Legion, which we have now. But we had, I don't think, maybe we had an Elks Club, but
That was a money generator too, I assume.
yes, it was very
For
huge
you guys.
money generation.
Yeah, cause you're, collecting rents, or you're making money at the.
At the, we're getting back to the community. There's an Elks Club that's missing in this town. Or this county.
There aren't any.
I mean, there's the Masons Lodge that used to be here.
So,
These people used to generate a lot of funds for this community, gentlemen. If we're taking away one thing for another, we're gonna lose it all.
A lot of those fraternal organizations are doing this because, that age group is dying off.
And very true.
From Shriners to Elks to whatever.
I think the important point.
But,
here-
thank you.
Oh, 1 second.
Yes, sir.
I think the important point here is, I think most of us hopefully would agree that we need somebody that lives here.
That makes.
Exactly.
For us, it does make sense. I mean, it really does, because I can hop over, see Tommy at any one time or something, and he, he's a veteran service officer. I got questions, I could call him, I could go see him right around the corner.
And
from
he
him,
knows you.
basically.
Yep.
He knows you.
Yes, sir.
Yeah,
He's known you a
yeah,
long time.
that's why I don't like.
Outsourcing.
Even though Christy may think this is good, and she's a very good person, by the way, Christy Cunningham has helped us all a lot and everything. But I don't like that automatic idea that, oh yeah, well, we're not doing this or that and everything. We have to immediately go to Durango, La Plata County. I'm tired of that crap. I really am, because I've been here long enough to see, we gotta go to Durango, we gotta go to Monterey, we gotta go here. No, let's try to make it work here. Let's try to make it work. I'm tired of that crap that we have to go to Durango.
If we all can work together and bring it where we don't lose money. And we communicate as officials, we can make this happen.
I guess the question I have, Willie, though, do we have any choice?
That is the question, because where
with
does
the-
the 20-hour mandate come from? Who's mandating?
I'm sure that's the best.
I mean, our choices, and Dennis, feel free to jump in anytime you want to. But basically, our choice is to add, because Tommy's done.
Right.
I mean,
We just.
I mean,
Is that an age discrimination thing? You just did?
nothing to do with age.
But it's all thinking, I can't, knowledge of it.
Let me finish, please.
Yeah.
Okay, so we have two options. The way I see it is, one is to advertise to fill that position for a 20-hour or 1,000-hour a year job.
We're required to do that or not? Because Tommy wasn't working at Times now.
No, Tommy's not certified, and he can't get certified if he isn't working at that. Yes, we're required for 20 hours.
So there's a certification.
So our option is to create a 20-hour a week job, or to contract with somebody else to provide the services.
So Tommy,
And I
Tommy, are
think
you,
the veteran service officer, somebody that's got some time, I don't have the time anymore.
I mean,
Maybe.
if you had had the time, would you be working 20 hours a week? Do you think?
But
I was at,
I know Tommy is very generous. with
Well,
what-
you were,
with what he charged, but his monthly reports or his charges were, 8 or 10 hours a month.
no, I didn't.
That-
put it on.
that-
that
that-
doesn't count, that
So
doesn't
that's
count.
what they're looking at and
That's
saying,
fine.
we can't justify a 20-hour position when we're doing, 8 hours a
Well,
month.
But it
But
doesn't, it doesn't take,
my main concern with this is that La Plata County's not gonna be putting in 20 hours a week in this either.
No,
Correct.
No,
Never.
but their officer will be doing 20 hours a week.
Not here in San Juan
No,
County.
it doesn't that they have to be here in San Juan County doing it.
I will
They
actually.
have to work 20
I'll
hours a
post the
week.
Position.
And I think their theory behind this is one, you gotta get certified and have the training. But then, if you're not doing 20 hours a week, you're not gonna know the job.
there's,
And I'm willing to get certified being younger because these obviously gentlemen.
We have another gentleman here.
Gentlemen,
We have another gentleman here.
well, if he does,
Now, he said he is very interested in. the
And
position.
then we have
we're
you-
not gonna decide that tonight.
No, I know.
We're gonna
I-
do-
correct.
I just want to let you
If
know.
that's the route we wanna go, we'll advertise for the position. We need to find out what the qualifications are. She did actually, Christie did send me some job descriptions, so,
Okay.
I've got something.
Yeah.
I got an email before, with Tommy too before.
I mean.
So do
Putting in his time, but he's also putting in his time on other things related to veterans, but never charging for.
Well, and I
That would be
I
nice.
think the biggest loss, quite honestly, if we go with somebody, not local, is that transportation. I mean, that's what Tommy's provided.
That's huge.
Getting people.
That's
And
huge.
Dennis has got some comment there.
Okay, Dennis?
One of the things that basically talked about was, the primary job of our veteran services officer over there is transportation. He drives veterans all over the place. He drives them to doctor's appointments up in Grand Junction and things like that. So they really had no problem keeping him busy, given everything he does over there. And I don't know what his complete job description is, but they're thinking that they're not going to have a problem him qualifying for the 1,000 hours a year plus the training. When I talked with La Plata County, we were just spitballing what would it look like if we combined some type of resources with them. And I initially thought, well, maybe our veteran services officer could work for La Plata County, but be located up here. And, so I thought that was a possibility or something that was worth pursuing. When I mentioned, however, transporting, I got definitely a negative reaction. They weren't really, the attorney that I was talking to wasn't realizing that transportation was a large portion of what they do. But she did not close the door to it. So if you guys wanted to explore doing something like that, we still could take a look at it. I don't think the odds are great, but I don't think it's impossible either. And that would give us a local, who could provide the same services, but worked for La Plata County, and then they wouldn't have to be qualified because La Plata County already has a qualified veteran services officer. So, that's an option. And then the other option, which I didn't think sounded great, was getting with the new URA person. But, it sounds like a stretch to think that person is going to come over and do transportation duties here. I mean, what are they going to do? Drive over?
Doesn't make sense. The transportation should originate out of this.
Yeah, and
Hey, so I'm gonna kind of make this a little bit more organized now, because we're kind of a little bit more spread out. This gentleman's been really patiently waiting to speak for a while now, so I'm gonna let him have the floor for a minute in this conversation, Dr. Beck.
Thank you.
Thanks, guys.
There are a few specifics that seem to be overlooked. One is, where does this 20 hours originating? Who comes up with that, first off? Okay, second off, what is the criteria for the state funding, 13,000 in our case, come from, and what's the criteria? What are the criteria? I'd like to know that. We've got 38 veterans in this county. Some of them require more effort and hours from the BSO than others.
And then actually having people come up here from La Plata.
Culturally,
Transportation.
And then third, we're getting 13 grand from the state. That's 12 and a half hours per week in a 52-week period. It's not 20 hours. So I think the people who are pressing us and our county to make these changes need to come up with some answers. And we need to come up with our own answers, such as what's the criteria for the 13 grand? Because if there's a way for us to get more than 13 grand, well, maybe we could provide 20 hours to whoever's asking or demanding that our BSO serves 20 hours. I still don't know where that number comes from. And these are questions that aren't being answered, they're not on the table, and they should be. Thank you.
Question, what's the criteria? Is it based on our general population? Is it based on our veterans population, the 13,000? Where does that number come from?
Let's see.
It's a number that's set by the state.
Yeah, it's all about state.
It is.
Like, it's based on population? Or-
No, just by state, this is by state standard.
Yeah, I don't know if it's if it's population or if there's a number of veterans in the county or a combination.
That's just what allotted by the state.
Okay.
It was 7.
Well, it is a criteria, there is a set like notion of
Well, we're
it.
not,
Certain variables.
we're not. allowed
Yes,
to
there are
do
certain
business
variables.
as usual.
But as far as population.
But
Yeah,
by mandate, we're not allowed to do business as usual, which would be 13,000 a year, 12 and a half hours a week. We're not allowed to do that now?
No,
Okay.
Where did that?
Part of the 1,000 hours, comes also in Zoom meetings and stuff that Christie puts on down here where all the VSOs get together and they have certain discussions every week. It's called coffee time, I mean, you go to them, but I've just never put them down.
How many
It's
times
my
a month
house.
did you do transportation, would you say?
How many times?
Yeah, and the reason I'm asking is, if you were charging for those hours, then I could see it would be a 20-hour a week thing.
No,
If you were doing that.
I've never charged for taking anybody down to Grand Junction or whatever, it was just like, it's always like been just part of my job, just something I should.
Right,
do.
but if you were charging those hours, we'd have those hours logged. So I think you've been putting in those hours.
Probably.
Yeah.
Well, I'm not quite so sure how many. It's kind of vague, but
Like Scott said, though, if that's a full day to Junction about.
It's
Yeah.
8 hours at least.
Yeah.
And so instead of having, like, what if they did it last week, instead of having, 12 hours,
It's either
you just added 8 to that, you did do 20 hours.
exactly what I was thinking too.
But that 13,000 isn't gonna fund 20 hours, is it? It's gonna fund the 12 and a half hours or whatever, so. We have to figure out a way, if we wanted, like Tommy working 20 hours a week, we have to figure out how to fund that. And you ask the state, say, look, we do have 20 hours a week for you. Or they're just gonna say, here's your 13,000.
no, they actually, the state has suggested. I mean, they fully expect the county to provide additional funding to veteran services.
That's an interesting.
We're a case where the funding was actually exceeded what our expenditures were. But it's not, there's no, I shouldn't say there's no correlation, but to a certain extent, they don't care, if it's gonna cost us $50,000 a year, you'll get $13,000.
They don't care. They're not gonna.
They're not gonna add to
I
it.
mean,
I mean, they actually, they would care, they'd be very grateful that we're funded a
But
$50,000 job.
it's not a funding mandate. They're requiring us to do 20 hours a week, but they're not willing to pay us for that.
That's
Another-
that's a good point,
Well,
Scott.
I thought it.
So my main concern here with this is, that we're gonna end up in a similar situation that we end up with Medicare and Medicaid funding that goes, there are service providers who are paid to do transportation in La Plata County for services in San Juan County. They don't execute those.
Never do it.
Shaq Powers and, who is now with Region 9, I believe.
Yeah.
But was with Montezuma County before and in the region. And Dana Cranker with the Health Department. And I had a really interesting talk about this, about how, because Dana is looking to try and get some transportation services for
Medicare.
for the health department, I mean, for the community. And there are people who are being funded for this that are not meeting their obligations. So to ask us to meet a 20-hour-a-week obligation when somebody in Durango is gonna meet a 0-hour-a-week obligation to the veterans and the residents of this community. That's my main concern.
I have a
here.
problem with that, yeah.
It's even beyond, I think, what Mike said, you know, like, it's even worse than that. We should be provided the services in San Juan County.
You're taking away from the
At the
community
very least,
completely.
San Juan County comes first.
Yes,
So can you use, like, say you transported somebody to Grand Junction and it's a veterans hospital though, could we use Medicare, Medicaid for that transportation cost? With our health department?
you wanna go, you have to go through all those hoops.
I mean, I think the VA should be paying for those
Yeah,
transportation
yeah.
costs. And
The
that
VA
there is
pays for
funding.
that. And the VA pays for our transportation and everything we do to take ourselves to every appointment, regardless of where it's at. What, it is no problem for me, Tommy, Mike, and others, veterans that have licenses that can take someone like Harvey
Yeah,
to the VA. I mean, look at John Jacobs.
yeah.
John Jacobs, he's not part of this community, but even though he's a sheriff, a deputy, he goes out of his own way to take.
Oh, he gets a lot of help.
Yes.
And John.
Yeah, so if John is not one of our community, he's in our community, but still, he works on, with our veterans. There's what Mr. Ashley was saying is, what Ashley was saying is like, what we plot out, I mean, oh goodness, what the word was, if we contract out with La Plata County, we're gonna just, we'll lose everything that La Plata needs to be able to bring the
All of
community
our
back together.
13,000 will go for administrative instead of for.
And our services will
Yeah,
be.
and we can fix it, we could,
zero.
if we can-
That's
if we-
my main. concern.
yes, and then if we can actually come together as the VSOs, the VFW. Or not all the VFW, sorry, the American Legion in town with you guys as commissioners. We can actually come up with a way to budget it, and it's gonna take younger people, yes. I know Tommy here is getting to the point where he wants to retire. And he has that respect for it, and younger of us and the ones that are in this room have that.
Any ideas?
Now,
Because we're talking just.
Now, thousands
We're
and
gonna,
thousands.
we're gonna make up the difference, then the county would almost have to make up. the difference.
well, we have to come together as another.
I mean, I think, you know, Dennis did have an idea that's worth exploring a little further,
Okay,
and that is having an agreement with, La Plata County.
oh, but.
But actually hiring a local person,
That
they
would
would be a
have,
La Plata County employee, we would essentially pay for them. It's the transportation issue that might not be able to get us over
Well, the transportation has to go with the VSO.
that, you know, I mean, I think that's worth at least having a little more conversation.
did you ever ask VA if they would help pay for transportation ever, like pay for your gas, would they do it?
I could just,
Yeah, they.
I could just come here.
That's part of the.
Yeah, they pay money.
Tommy just, if he wanted reimbursement, he just needed to.
Put the, he put money in the effort more too, yeah.
Okay.
And actually, the money that I received from being a veteran service officer, it goes right back to wounded veterans and, you know, I mean, I support them big time.
Yeah.
So I really just, I mean, I just really don't make any money doing this job.
And this time,
No,
we don't make
but
money
it's
chasing people
something-
either.
it's something to do.
Yeah.
Christy works for the VFA or?
Yeah, VSO.
She's
Yeah, she's the head person in the Four Corners area of Colorado.
Regional.
So she's the.
Okay,
She's the one.
so she's like the regional VSO.
Yeah,
Okay, all right.
yeah.
I just would really appreciate them having a meeting with the commissioners and with the veterans.
Well, if they would be more organized
I
with
think
us
that's a good
too.
idea.
Because I think just kind of trying to combine them without having a meeting to be able to kind of, you know, discuss some of these issues.
Asking her, what are we gonna get from that combining, because if it just goes administratively there, we're not getting any services for veterans. here.
Well, we would get some services, but they would be,
Not
it'd be
on the-
similar to what we have on a, you know, I mean, it's like we had with San Juan Basin Public Health.
not-
All these services are provided as long as you go down there.
Yeah.
But going down.
That's high.
Now-
Yeah,
I'm a little tired of that.
if somebody wants to come
Yeah.
and do office hours here, you know, once or twice a week, I think that's a big difference from
Yeah,
having to,
but that still doesn't, you know, cover the transportation thing, so.
no.
The 1,000 hours, that includes
So
like
one-
the Zoom meetings,
Yes.
I mean, that includes a lot of stuff, where you get certified. You get certified by attending all of these meetings and
Sure.
stuff like
No,
that.
Makes sense.
So, I mean, that's just, I mean, it's just,
It's still a lot of hours.
it's a lot of, it's a lot of hours, you know, I can't do it anymore.
What if we,
Yeah.
I know this is something that's
Hey,
huge.
Oh, we got a speaker.
Dennis, Dennis talk. Dennis?
Willie, I was also thinking maybe I could explore us being, someone up here being a subcontractor. Instead of working for La Plata County, maybe they could be a subcontractor up here for, you know, or I think we could create, if they'll entertain some options down there. So I just need some direction from the board. Would the board like me to continue discussion with La Plata County about possibilities for locating someone up here? Whatever.
That's our biggest concern, Dennis, is that we would like to have some type of veterans officer here in Silverton. It makes the most sense because of that rapport.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I agree with that, and the worst thing, and I understand exploring with the Plata County, but every time we do that, the transportation thing is those two passes. And them coming up here,
Yeah.
and then we don't receive services.
You want your transportation to originate out of Silverton.
Correct.
Otherwise, you gotta drive up, drive back. drive up, drive back.
I mean,
It-
every time we-
It falls through the cracks.
Yeah.
it really does.
Good way to describe that.
I think Dennis is trying to.
Okay, go ahead, Dennis. Sorry.
Hard to do the transportation up here, you guys. At least that's what she was surprised, the attorney I was talking to was surprised that transportation played such a large role. I think in La Plata County, it's more services and all this other, you know, point veterans in the right direction and things like that. Whereas, you know, San Juan County and Dolores County, just as comparison, are more very much hands-on. A veteran needs help, needs to get somewhere, there's someone there to help them. So I get it, I got the marching orders. That's why when Willie and I didn't even really explore moving all the services to La Plata County and Becky chimed in as well and said, no way. So I think we're hearing you loud and clear. Just let me continue discussions, and it's just one arm of possibilities. I'll do that, and then maybe Willie can find a pot of money, and he can work at it.
Are you a leprechaun, Willie? You got that pot of gold coins someplace?
I'll wait for the
hidden
next
away?
rainbow to come.
I'm gonna shave my beard real quick.
Rainbow season's been a while gone, so
Well, we-
come back here soon.
Appreciate you guys' input.
Yeah.
No,
absolutely.
and
Absolutely.
thank you guys for
It's
listening.
a problem.
I think there's a general,
Thank you guys for listening.
I think there's a general agreement that it would be preferable to have somebody here.
Yes.
Yeah,
It really would. It'd save on a whole lot of stuff, the transportation thing right away and so forth.
I mean,
This gentleman here, I know maybe you don't know him so much. Yeah, and Willie, you're right about advertising, and you have to do it the right way, the legal way, so. But this gentleman right here is very much interested in taking Tommy's place as being a new VSO for the facility,
I think
and he lives here.
Yeah, I think there's a couple other people out there that are.
Okay,
interested, so-
good.
Yeah, no, that was my concern was,
Even
you
better.
know, was there anybody that wanted to do it? And Tommy said.
Well, I got this one guy right here.
Tommy beat the place, he found a few people. So there's-
Yeah.
Good.
there's some interest out there.
Good.
I just want this community to really go in peace and prosper with bringing back a lot of fraternities and things like that. This town it has lost a lot of focus. People that were here to be able to outreach and.
It's gotta be it's almost gotta be a different form though, Paul, because.
I don't know that form, but you guys are the oldest. You
The
guys are the
elders
eldest.
of,
The
even,
eldest.
I mean,
That's
the
why you're
the
elected.
eldest members of the Oaks, the eldest members of, Oddfellows, all these
Yeah.
organizations,
Right.
Shriners, I mean,
Yeah.
Shriners always close down hospitals, because they don't have enough people putting in money to fund their.
And it's been a very much a very, it's been depleted and this community can use a lot of maybe some more of that. And keeping this organization within this community would be a very much more stand. And probability for our town to.
I like fraternal organizations, they.
Yeah.
they
Me
donate
too.
A lot of money.
Yes.
It's amazing.
Yes,
Lions
agree.
Club, Juanas, you
Yeah.
name it, you know.
Yes, please, we'd love to bring them back.
All the more reason to concentrate on having something here. When all these other organizations had to close down for various reasons, and I understand that. But all the more reason to fight to have somebody here. And I personally like the personal touch. Personal touch, and I can go see Tommy.
Yeah,
And
it
talk
takes
to him.
5 minutes instead of running down the drain.
Yeah.
And then we don't know.
That's what I want to avoid, is that we're always, we've done that for years and years. I've been here a mere 52 years. And I've seen everything always happen, yeah.
Of course.
I know, come on, either everything you'll feel sorry
He was here
for,
before the
that's okay. That's all right. But I've seen year after year since I've been here, and so, we gotta go to Durango for this, we gotta go to Durango for that, or we gotta go to Montrose. I'd like to cut out as much of that as possible.
Bring back a hospital.
Well, especially as veterans age and stuff, it's much harder to do that trip.
Bring back a hospital.
Yeah.
I mean, bring back some attorneys, bring back a hospital.
Yeah, that's,
Something that can actually bring this community closer.
we gotta do
A lot of work.
Budgeting,
lots of budgeting.
Dennis and me beat the bushes a little bit.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Oh, absolutely, yeah.
See what we can come up with, and we'll have something.
All right.
Yeah, if we can have some more meetings with you guys, Dennis, you all need something with Tommy, whoever else is here, just, if we can get with, other people, I mean, I know Tommy's going into retirement, I also am speaking interest in the VSO position. But, I wanna work with all y'all.
All right.
Because you guys are community.
There you go.
Thanks, you guys.
You guys-
Thank you.
Thank you guys so much.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mike.
Okay.
Yeah, thank you.
See you guys.
Yep, yep.
Willie.
What's in that bottom?
Cheers to you.
What's in that bottom?
See you, Patch.
Straight vodka, that's the only way I can get. No.
Good to see you too.
Thanks, guys.
Yeah.
Thanks,
All
Willie.
right, guys, are you good, Tommy?
Yeah.
All righty.
Have a good evening. Bye, guys.
Thank you.
No, thank you guys for your consideration.
Thanks, Tommy. Thank-
Yeah,
Tommy,
thank you guys.
Tommy, thank you for the service that,
Exactly,
So,
yeah.
Okay.
We appreciate it.
Night,
Good
gentlemen.
night, you guys.
Thank you, guys. Thank you. Good night.
See y'all later.
See ya.
Yep, see you, Tom.
Keep Tommy.
All right, our last item on the agenda here is resolution 2024-02, resolution to adopt a fee schedule for certain repetitive hauling on county roads and to mitigate anticipated road damage to the hauling project in county roads, not necessarily part of a permitted land use project. All right, go ahead, Dennis, Willie, take us away.
Well, this is basically an offshoot of the road ordinance that you guys previously approved. And in there, it has a provision that says the Board of County Commissioners will periodically adopt schedule, fee schedule. And so this is a fee schedule resolution. It's to be read hand in hand with that. And I have some language in there that also states that the provisions of this resolution, if any provisions of this resolution are in conflict with any prior regulation, that this resolution will supersede the prior. You'll notice that this is $5 a ton over 50 tons. And, you know, if you were talking about, for example, just rough estimates on the EPA project, you know, it could be something in the $40,000 to $50,000 range when it's all said and done, just depending on how much is hauled and so on and so forth. And then there's also an addition of a application fee, $250. And then I also did I know Willie is working on an application that also, you know, requires certain information be provided by the applicant, logbooks and things like that. I did struggle a little bit with how are we going to collect the fee, and the way that I put it together was with monthly haul, basically monthly haul tickets, and then the first haul month was an advance required at the time of the permit issue. So we'd always be 1 month ahead on the tickets. And you know, you never know what happens at the end of a project.
Exactly.
The money disappears or whatever. So that's the way I set it up. It also allows and provides very specifically that if there's road damage and the amount we collect it is not enough to cover the road damage, we're not waiving road damage to go after additional road damage monies. Yeah, that's pretty much it in a nutshell.
Are we covered on like non-payment of fees? Like we get to the end of the year and the contractor says, sorry, I ain't paying you. Then do we have to just go to litigation, or is there?
It's monthly. And that's why I said it's, they have to provide haul tickets monthly, and they have to estimate their first month in advance of their haul. So they'll be basically.
So non-payment would be a revocation of the permit then? Like say they didn't pay at the end of the month, then do we revoke their permit?
So they're gonna start next month, say,
Right?
and their estimate is, you know, 100,000 tons. So they're gonna pay us for that 100,000 tons before they get started.
Oh,
And then before they start their second month, they've got to pay us for that. And before the third month. Now, if they're estimating 10,000 tons this first month, and they exceed that, and they estimate low the next month, and then they get to the end of the project, you know, and they skip town, then we have a problem. But otherwise, the way we got this set up is,
Right.
you know, if they pay us for 100,000 tons and they only haul 90, the only way they're gonna get that money back is at the end of the project. They file all their tonnage for the entire project.
Well, keep in mind that the owner as well as contractors are responsible. And that way, let's just take, for example, if it were EPA or someone like that. I think they are going to, I would hope that they're going to be encouraged to make sure that we get paid each month. And because they are technically, now, I'm not going to make any comments on enforceability against EPA right now in an open meeting, but it's something to consider. And I do think that, you know, timing is everything on this. And when they sign a contract, they're going to build this into their contract. And so there's really no reason why the county shouldn't get paid this.
sure. No, absolutely.
It's going to be.
That's why EPA wants this, is so that they're not coming back at the end of the project.
Correct.
Asking for an amendment to the contract.
That's why
We
they want
charge
this now.
money.
Yeah.
They want to know
Gotcha.
now, so when they write the contract, it's. still-
Absolutely.
It's built into that makes total sense.
Yeah, so, yeah, and again, I've talked before about, you know, sort of the intricacies of these and, I think this is, something we can move forward with and I think it's something that'll work. I did speak with Anthony today, explained to him what we did and he was comfortable with the way we did it. I'm not aware that we have approval from the EPA on this yet, or if they have any concerns with it, but I'm not getting any indication from Anthony that he's concerned. So this would be the step today is passing this resolution and then getting this out there quickly so before they sign the contract for hauling, they'll know this.
So by way of reading this resolution, I'm just gonna read the title, if that's okay.
Yes.
San County Resolution number 2024-02, a resolution to adopt a fee schedule for certain repetitive haulings on county roads and to mitigate anticipated road damage to the hauling projects on county roads, not necessarily part of the land use permitted project.
Perfect. I make a motion that we pass resolution 2024-02.
I'll second it.
All in favor?
Aye. Excellent.
The only thing I'd add, you guys, is I would always encourage any planning project, you know, anything that comes before the planning project. We want to put that right in our land use permits. We don't want to rely on this for any kind of approved project in the county that goes through planning.
And not just CPA, I mean, I think how much concrete was hauled up to that 6,000 square foot boat up there. And, you know, that had to be over 50 tons of concrete, I would think, wouldn't you? I mean,
Which
where the
Mayday or? what you
No, the
talking
one.
about? Which boat?
No, I'm thinking of that personal building, the commercial, the ski lodge he built up there. But in that road, there are tons of concrete coming to town for that retaining walls.
Oh, you come with the area.
I don't know if it's
Okay.
50 tons, but they.
Yeah.
She'd be helping us pay for it, so.
As a reminder, I mean, this is a real small applicability situation. And, you know, we hope that we can address road mitigation issues in land use planning is what I'm trying to say.
I think the town has been hauling in excess of 50,000 tons through the county.
Yeah.
That
Oh,
would be subject to this permitting as well.
makes sense.
That it's not necessarily part of our land use agreement either, you know, it could be something it could be something coming from the county, coming through town too.
I
That,
didn't even think about that.
yeah,
You gonna tell Gloria?
Yeah, I don't know about that. Well, I'd want to talk about that one a little bit more on another occasion.
just to put it in, just to throw it out there, I'm trying not to throw specific, projects underneath the bus, but our cooperative government agreements, we could discuss that.
Okay, thank you guys.
All right,
Thank you.
I did want to throw out there, I know it's not on the agenda, but Willie and I have been talking about the ADA compliance issues, accessibility issues. It's a hot issue. And I'm not going to get into detail. Willie really, he knows what's going on. And the problem is it's facing all the counties. It's legislation that is, in my opinion, just not well thought out, and you'll be hearing more about it from Willie and possibly me in the future. But if you start hearing the rumblings of ADA and accessibility compliance issues, we're looking at it. Willie's on top of it, and as much as anybody else can be, because it's just a really tough piece of legislation to even sort through. Once again, the state just tossing hand grenades.
unfunded hand grenades.
You got that right, especially on this one, I'm telling you.
Exactly.
That's such crap.
I've been getting some strange emails that seem like they're written either by AI or somebody whose native language is not English about ADA accessibility for visually impaired folks and implementing like basically audio tour things with markers in them that for apps on smartphones. Just you know, it gets more detailed all the time. It's all say.
And I'll tell you I think there are certain attorneys who are chomping at the bit right now to sink their teeth into this these kinds of claims against counties. So yeah, we'll do the best we can. Like I said, Willie's aware of it. Willie, I signed up for that webinar on the 10th, so I'll be at that, and then I have that conference, and I'm sure people are going to be wringing their hands all the way up to the deadline. So see what we need to do. That's it for me.
All right. At this point, we have nothing else on our agenda. Public comment? At this point, we will take public comment from any members of the public who would like to discuss any issues that we've discussed tonight or any others matters pertaining to San Juan County. Seeing none online or in person, we will close public comment and move on to commissioner and staff reports.
I just have one thing, Jim Donovan asked if I would just mention to you guys that the potential economic impact of the Gunnison, the bridge in Gunnison.
Yeah.
The region.
That's
and
huge.
Yeah.
Just to be cognizant of that.
I just saw that on the news tonight. That's wild.
Yeah.
I think I'll hear more from Jonathan Howard from Gunnison County on that next week.
Sure. But they don't play the crack.
Next week.
Yeah, kids are going to school in boats.
But
High schoolers are going to school in boats.
What do you mean they're going to school boats? They're
I mean, they're exactly what I just said. They're going to
taking a
school.
boat across,
They're going in boats.
and then.
and they're staying
a bus
there.
is Picking them up and.
Yeah, and they're staying at friends' houses for a couple of days. They went to prom on a boat.
What?
No, this is, I just saw it on the news.
Yellow too.
Honest
I
to God,
gotta-
Blue Mesa Bridge.
I'll be darned. No,
Big
I
deal.
Heard the rumor, but I just didn't know.
Yeah,
Oh.
I saw this on the news and I'm blown away. Boats?
Yeah.
That's a main highway. man.
Put in a fair.
I just had this discussion with Jonathan too, because they were being asked by CDOT to sign letters of support for projects in I-70.
Yeah.
And we discussed how, you know, how quickly one event can change an entire road structure for the entire state, whether it be rock slides in
Yeah,
Glenwood
yeah.
Canyon or the Blue Mesa, you know, project that's been going on for these guys. And what a
Unbelievable.
what a blow.
Thanks.
No planned time for reopening at this point.
No, yeah,
correct?
no warning, no, you know,
Yeah.
just all of a sudden, boom.
I think they evacuated people off of the bridge basically when the
Yeah.
failure occurred, and it was like.
So, the failure, I mean, I haven't seen the pictures. Was there just a crack or was it?
I've never seen any of the pictures.
I saw just a picture of the actual
It
failure. on the bridge.
blew me away when I see these kids in the boats going to school.
I'll be
There was
darned.
there was a big metal crack that was 3 inches long that they found was the point of failure. But I mean, there was something more significant than that happened when they shut it down, for sure. But I just saw a picture of the actual problem. It's just a big crack in the weld, it's 3 inches long. Yeah, did not look good.
So at least we got that going for us, Scott.
Well, I mean, that bad, the construction.
Not better knock on wood when I say that. This is our bridges.
Construction on 50 for a long time, which caused.
Right.
Huge delays,
Yeah.
Huge zones.
but at least they could get through eventually,
If
maybe,
Right.
yeah,
12 hours of the day.
yeah,
Yeah, it's,
holy cow.
Yeah.
Okay.
it's a lot. Yeah, any other meeting stuff going on.
An ambulance meeting, just, Tyler's having a hard time filling positions, just, especially getting people to wanna come up here, do a full-time position and live here. A lot of our guys, especially our part-time paramedics, all live out of town, and it's just, it's getting hard. Pay scale is part of the problem, just competition with other towns, especially Durango. He's feeling okay. I mean, we're having to now, you know, look more and more at EMTs too, you know, cause you can't necessarily get a paramedic sometimes, so it's just a sign of the times, so.
He's getting squeezed.
Very
Way squeezed on it.
yeah. And anytime we send somebody to school, they have to sign a contract, they'll work for us 2 years and then they're gone.
And then they're gone.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We've helped Durango a lot. Dennis, were you gonna say something?
Yeah, I don't know if you guys saw it. I'm trying to remember where I read it, but there was an article about ambulance services in the state failing and how they are facing extremely difficult times financially and with employees. And we're seeing it over in Dove Creek as well. The local ambulance over there is absolutely struggling to try to pay what you need to pay people to attract them. You know, you guys are always lucky because it's such a fantastic, interesting place to live, and there are always going to be a certain percentage of the population that wants to live in Silverton. So you guys are actually luckier than most counties, I think. But even that is going to get tough.
Then they got that like a rescue pickup truck that they fully outfitted.
Yeah, nice one.
And a full grant through Jim Donovan. I mean, it was like a total grant. We didn't have to match anything, and it's ready to go. So that's a nice vehicle because then they can get up there on the sports.
Oh, yeah.
Just because access, as we saw like in that incident on Stony Pass and stuff, access is just trying to get up there to some of these places is tough. With a full crew too.
And we do get some pretty far out there calls. I remember one call where they got sent way back. And it actually was closer to La Plata for search and rescue to get out there, but since it was technically in San Juan County, that
They've had a couple
Maybe it's a
things,
transportation issue.
couple things with Hinsdale too.
Right?
yeah, but and that truck actually came to the state funding from that BSAR.
The
thing that I participated in.
The state search and rescue is great.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah, that was a big,
It's a great truck.
Yeah, that was a big win.
Good grant too, and no match, no nothing, it was just a straight grant, which was super duper, so.
That's a big sign of the state willing to pony up for search and rescue efforts and
Yes.
in our
And
rural
they
counties,
should
which
be,
is
because,
great.
There's just so much pressure on search and rescue because of the sheer volume of people that are using the backcountry now.
Yep.
And not just locals, everybody, I mean, there's just a lot of people in the backcountry, I mean, it's really hard in search and rescue, as you know.
And I just will say that, I'm glad that the state is, attempting to do their part. I wish our federal partners would try to do their part to support search and rescue efforts on federal lands.
Yes.
I agree.
But all we can do is continue to preach to our
Still making us pay for the autopsy.
our visitors. Yeah.
Still make us pay for the autopsy when we put it on.
Which the state search and rescue guys could not believe that was part of it. Like that's just something that just nobody considers.
Yeah, but it can be huge, I mean.
Yeah.
And expensive.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
I know we've had a couple of years where we've had 7 to 10 autopsies or more.
Yeah.
That's a lot.
Having a big like casualty event could be pretty devastating to a small county.
Yeah.
Like I guess I shouldn't think of doomsday scenarios here. We we won't give Dennis nightmares.
No.
That was the only, meeting that I can remember having, so. And I did miss the meeting with DPA, right?
Yeah.
So you'll have Phyllis, or.
We had a.
Planning group?
Planning group meeting, I did miss that, so I'll let Willie fill you guys in on that, I was in Oregon, so. That's it.
Pretty much the same, same.
Yeah, the planning group,
Yeah.
yeah, sometimes we really spin our wheels. I don't know. I'm glad that BLM gave us a really good heads up about what they're doing, so.
Yeah.
But we gotta, well, we should. We'll talk about it later, but we should talk. Just,
Yep.
Dennis had a comment.
Dennis?
I was just gonna say before you guys close, did you guys happen to see the wolf migration, or the wolf collared, activity for the month of April put out by CPW?
No.
Really?
How far down they get?
No, they're going east. I mean, they're out of, they're out of that western side of the state and they are moving east. They're
That didn't hurt my feelings.
No, they're all around Boulder County. It's this is really interesting.
That doesn't hurt my feelings.
Lot more house pets to eat over there.
That's what it is, so.
Yeah, if you take a look at the map, because they're in a hurry. So anyway,
Wow.
Huh, interesting.
Well, they're the majority of the folks that voted for it, so no matter how you feel about
There you
wolves,
go.
they're the ones that wanted to see them in their backyard, so. They got it. Pete, did you have any meetings or anything?
Do you wanna go first?
I just had one thing to talk about either way, it doesn't matter, I go. So, I didn't go to the meeting, but, there was I think they call it a head, it's the kind of the stakeholders project of most of like the environmental groups, MSI, I think is kind of hosting and chairing these groups, but they're starting to get together their priority list and for the state attorney general's office funding, the $3.5 million or whatever that we said was gonna be there. So that they're gonna come to us with a list of like kind of a categorized list of what their projects are, which projects they think are the most important, which ones they think are the most likely to accomplish in this grant cycle, and what their hopes are for the next one. So yeah. The big one that I think they have on their list that maybe we hadn't discussed or thought about is up in Gladstone, some of like the Red Bonita fens up there, restoring some of the fens up there, which I think is great.
No, I think it's awesome.
So, yeah, and I talked to Jake Kurzweil from MSI a little bit, just about our kind of hopes for Howardsville and the corridor going out there, and kind of, what our challenges and aspirations are up there. So,
Sure.
and some of those other things, so that I think is kind of good, but I think we'll end up seeing some of them come into our meeting here, probably. Have you talked to any of these folks yet? Cause I know they'll be talking to you to try to get.
We have talked, but
Okay.
they haven't come up with anything specific.
I mean, I think they just came together and met this, I think it was just this Monday.
But
so
the red and Benita
just
is a
started.
good specific thing.
Yeah,
Like that.
yeah,
Yeah.
Absolutely.
except for what?
They close the valve.
Yeah.
Then you have no water for the fence.
Yeah. No, I mean, that's.
Yeah,
That's-
and these are reasons that, we need to, discuss some of our.
I'd love to see them close the valve.
Or if they open it up, flood it all out and wash it all out, too,
Yeah.
that's probably not a good thing either. But yeah, just so some of the groups are getting together. I think La Plata's trying to move forward with land acquisition things on the river. I don't think a lot of those groups are very impressed by that effort of contributing to improving water quality. You know,
They'd rather see land acquisition.
they'd rather see meaningful improvements to the water quality instead of land acquisition
Oh, I
for
see, I
boat
see.
ramps and recreation.
Right,
That makes more sense. I
Um,
mean,
yeah, so. And then there was another good point on there too, that, you know, we keep asking these folks to help us, you know, find creative solutions to our air quality problems as well as our water quality problems. And an interesting perspective was just that these roads were all built for mining access, so they are the legacy that we have with mining as well, and as well as our water quality issues that we have for mining. We do have some legacy issues mining for air quality too, and maybe if we bring it up with that kind of light, maybe we'll get further, but probably not.
I think we're
Wishful thinking.
we're grasping on that.
Yeah, we'll keep grasping, I guess, though, because it's a big issue to folks and residents out in the county there. And we just had another land use improvement permit come through the planning commission that we'll see next week. And I won't talk too much about it because it's gonna come before us, but I'm just gonna say, it's only gonna be a matter of time before the next folks building out there become residents of the Dust Bowl and have, you know, same issues.
Yeah.
There is growth happening in that area of the county, and it's a concern. Like, it would be a really, it would be a big concern for me if I live.
I wouldn't build
Out
there,
there.
I wouldn't build there with that kind of dust,
Yeah,
personally.
yeah.
That might be one of our, conditions of approval is that they acknowledge that they're living in the dust bowl when they can't.
Exactly.
They can't. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, it definitely would be something worth probably discussing. I didn't really know how to bring it up in our planning commission meeting, but that would have been the place to probably bring it
I thought
up.
about it afterwards, that that's actually one of the things we should have. I
Yeah.
should have warned you.
Yeah, should be,
That there's.
it's an actual
There's
condition.
no guarantees that we'll be maintaining that road.
Yeah,
The county's not
Well, they'll
promising
sign
it's gonna be paved or chip sealed or whatever in the next.
they did sign that there was no guarantee of road maintenance and road opening, but we talked about it more in the framework of natural disasters and floods and avalanches and things like that, not so much
Sure.
dust and rough roads. Pete?
I have some good news. Willie and myself have been working real hard with Kelly Mitchell of PMC, Komatsu. The Volvo that we talking about the loader now. They demoed the Volvo. It was a good price. I think the guys are in agreement. We're gonna demo a Komatsu. Comes in tomorrow afternoon. Free demo, free trucking. And he's more than willing to come to a meeting. But, you know, need the guys to demo it, see how they like it, everything else. But he's talking in competition with cat and deer and everything else. They're hungry. And
Deer or
Komatsu, PMC. Their price, he knows the price he needs to be competitive with and is willing to work with that. They have some used machines that are only 100 hours.
Wow.
Yeah, that we're gonna get one brought tomorrow from Denver. I'm excited about it. The guys are excited about it. He's a salesman. He knows. He walked into the office and gave him immediate hats and swag and everything else. But more importantly, the whole thing is I've dealt with 2 or 3 of his mechanics that they have, and they're all first rate. And their parts department is excellent. It's as good as deer. And to me, it's all about the service and the parts.
They have
After you
an
buy it.
office based out of Durango?
They do,
Okay, which is a factor.
Yeah. But
So essentially, after they demonstrated it, they've done the Volvo, they're doing the Komatsu, or they'll do the Komatsu.
this is positive.
When all that's done, then we'll we'll compare prices, service,
Parts,
machines, and,
and come back to the board, yeah.
make it, make a
Right.
recommendation as to which way to go.
Correct, yeah, it's not like
And,
I'm not talking like we're buying one, I'm just saying,
Yeah,
it's an exciting thing, because they're so competitive. It used to be cat and deer, and it's not just cat and deer, I'm real excited about their, like I said, when I found out who their mechanics are, I've dealt with them in the last 20 years, and these guys are aces in their parts department.
budget for that? I just can't remember. We did?
Yeah.
Okay, I just. couldn't-
Right.
I mean, I guess you wouldn't be looking at one unless. we
No,
budgeted.
no,
Well, I mean, you
no,
could be looking at one because we had
Yeah.
a breakdown or something, but.
right,
is your experience with Komatsu stuff like, kind of like what I've heard about, like their Komatsu care is oil changes every
Is
day
good.
included?
Real
and
good.
Wherever you are, they will come and
Right.
service it.
they're even talking about dropping, again. If, because we're so remote, dropping a small zircon. By the county shop with hoses and parts in it. So, because anytime their guys come from Junction to Durango or vice versa. If we need something, they could just drop it off.
Hmm.
I mean, that's exciting to me, I mean, it's,
Yeah,
the opposite of a transportation problem.
yeah.
Okay, that they're willing to do that, so, let's see what the guys say about the loader and go from there. The other thing is, we talked to them, again, and it doesn't hurt to have a company, I mean, they're a good company. And they're a big company and they've been around a long time, but to have them as hungry as they are right now is a good thing. And I don't mind playing on that at all. We even talked about, when I talked earlier about, how many cut up Cunningham and kind of up to how many culverts we need to replace. He's even talking about possibly a 2 to 3 week demo on an excavator.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh,
So
Be great.
he's trying to earn our business, okay?
Sure.
He's a salesman.
Yeah.
All right, but I'm just saying. Those are,
Do a 3-week demo and replace all our culverts.
well, I mean, when you look at a lease on we'd have to lease one per month, we talked about it,
Yeah.
And what you can get done with those in that
Oh,
month
So
is.
much faster than the way they
Oh,
do it,
it's,
so.
we've already proved it when they,
Yeah.
So,
But,
so we get a lease from them for, a demo for 2 to 3 weeks. Can we get a demo from Volvo or somebody else for another 2 to 3 weeks to finish the project?
that game doesn't work like that. You can only run through that a little bit,
I'm just kidding.
and unless you're a better salesman than I am.
Yeah.
They're pretty tough on that. The other thing is, the AAA is becoming a full-time meeting job
Wow.
that, I'm trying to get them to change their meeting times to at least 3 in the afternoon. Because we're all starting to work, and so I'm still with it, we're getting we're in the midst of hiring an executive director. I won't discuss names or anything. That's good. I happened to go to Beaver Lakes today and get them a load of amended topsoil for the senior dome. That was a real good deal, and that was. Yeah, it seems to be going pretty good. The other thing I'm gonna say on a kind of a personal note, but it was good. I got that RSV virus and put me down for 7 days on oxygen, the whole deal. I'm on the tail ends of that now, feeling good, but that innovative clinic, I can't say enough how professional they were and providing the drugs and the care that I needed without having to go to Durango.
Yeah.
I'm gonna give them double thumbs up.
Glad you're doing better.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
That's it. That's all I got.
Nasty one, Arch. Yeah.
Nobody wants that.
Tried to hold my daughter down for. They were like, oh, she'll get up eventually, and after about 30 minutes, trying to hold her down with an oxygen tube on there, they took my advice and we figured out something else to get her to deliver oxygen, because she would not do the cannula.
Oh, it's not comfortable. It's not,
Not the
no,
little guy, yeah.
no.
Yeah.
But
Hmm.
like I said, and Becky was part of it. Gave me a concentrator. I mean, those guys are just,
We're-
I can't say enough about them.
Yeah, and we're real fortunate right now to have
Pretty proud of them right now.
the two clinics in public health.
Yep.
Yeah,
We're doing.
it's come a long ways. So. That's all I got.
All right,
All for me.
all right. Well, I guess we will adjourn this meeting at 9:22 PM. Thank you, Dennis.
Thank you, guys. Have a good night.
Yeah. Have a good night.
Good night, guys.